All right. Minasan, ohayo gozaimasu. Uh,
That's a nostalgia way. Wasn't expecting.
that is good morning, everyone in Japanese. This is episode 5 of Delicious Divination. We've got Barry Sine Waves on mute for a little bit as he heads home. We've got Todd on the board handling all the controls. And this week we've got a really special guest. You might have seen her artwork in a previous episode with the mushroom deck and the bleeding tooth fungus, if I believe that's what it was called.
Yep.
Um, she has a lot of great artwork you can check out on her website. Um, and just paintings, photography, teaches all sorts of classes. Um, really talented. And her name is Lilla Sparrow. Thanks for joining
Hello.
us. I'm just showing off some of your artwork on the website.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can't see the screen share, but
Oh yeah. Well, you want to load the stream up too on the side, you might be able to see it. But yeah, I'm just she's super talented. Your
oh,
artwork's awesome. It's super awesome stuff. She's also producing several different tarot decks, if I remember. Like you're producing one with like each person does an art for one of them.
yeah, I have a couple different deck projects going on right now. I guess the main one is the one that you just described. It's a giant collaborative deck, which means that every card in that 78 card deck is done by a different artist. And this has been done before. That concept in and of itself is not so unique.
Hmm.
But what is unique about this one is that it is a Thoth deck. So as far as we know, me and the other person who's running the project, there is not another collaborative Thoth deck out there. So yeah,
Hmm. Awesome.
pretty pretty
Can,
excited about that.
can you tell me about the cephalopod and snail logo? What's that about?
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a vestige of, I guess, an old personality or just I mean, I've had this website for like, I don't know, like 10 years now. Gosh,
Yeah.
that's like thinking about it, that's a long time. So it's a lot of iterations of myself, I guess you could say. And the point of departure for me was very cartoony and just very based off of the work that I was doing as a kid. And yeah, snails and cephalopods were just animals that I resonated with as a kid, or a teenager, I guess you should say. And so that was just kind of, yeah, I just wanted something fun, easy as a logo, and that just kind of came to mind. I get a lot of comments about it, and it's always like funny to me because it's not really on my consciousness anymore. Um,
Right.
yeah, it's just like this slice of an old self, I guess you could say. So there's not really a deep meaning to it. It's just I
Yeah.
loved octopi, I loved snails.
They're great
But
animals. I mean, the
yeah,
octopus is, or well, the cephalopod, incredibly, incredibly smart.
yep, yeah.
That's awesome.
And that
Um,
like hermaphroditic energy is interesting too. For
yeah.
snails in particular. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, I don't know a ton about snails.
Well,
Honestly.
if you need to know any random snail trivia facts, I'm sure I could fill you in there, but not that's not the direction we need to go today.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, cool. Um, let's see what else. So yeah,
Hey, real
Barry.
quick,
Oh,
I'm popping in real quick on the
yeah.
snails. If you remember the medieval artwork we had up
Oh
a couple
yeah.
weeks ago, we had the medieval people fighting snails. So it
Oh
was
my
you can
God,
almost look
yeah.
at
I've seen that
the.
one. That's a great
Have you
one.
seen those where they're
Yeah.
jousting the snail?
Yeah.
Dude, medieval art in general is something. You can, I mean, a lot of it has been sort of like memeified or whatever, but some of
Yeah.
it is just so amazing. Like it's almost like because medieval art, I think it's the product of artists who were more free, right? Because they weren't
Yeah,
so many
yeah,
expectations and so many conventions. I mean, even things like
right,
perspective we take for granted, right? If you see a picture that has like bad perspective now, it's automatically like you assume that the person is not a good artist. But they didn't have those conventions, let alone like the conventions of anatomy and stuff that we have. Like, right, like you look at human figures, you look at animals, you look at the medieval vegetables
right,
and you're like, what is this animal? That's not a bear.
Right.
They were kind of more free, I think, to channel some interesting ideas. And sometimes, yeah, you just get these wild, like I've seen pictures of, yeah, like medieval cats that are just
Yeah.
off the roof, wacky.
Going to
There's the snails,
church.
those are great. And I'm sure you've seen the illustrations of what witches do with captive penises, right?
No.
No, okay.
But now we
Well,
must.
yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people make the medieval art things and art things into like memes because they're pretty off the wall. Um, the I think the awesome it's my favorite art period. It's something that's really hit me hard over the last 2 years. Like I'm of course big into astrology and stuff, so I'm always diving into old art to see them hiding the symbolism in their art, of course. And a symbol never dies.
Yep.
If a picture's got 1,000 words, then a symbol has 1,000 pictures for sure.
Yeah.
So the medieval art, it's been like my go-to for like you said, they were freer. I think this is connected to the Tartaria world a little bit, where before everything got changed, flipped around, we were using art as a means of divination. So we were using art as a way to speak, to show meaning. So if you look at all the types of orbs behind the heads. It's showing the type of energy. It's showing the art of the creator. Hey, we've got the sun and the moon behind the head. They're marrying and having sex. We've got this going on in the painting, and we're really showing something that's happening between the sun and moon and capturing it in the art. And it blows me away. Like the snail, for example, I look at that as I think I said fighting density, like the slowness of density. The human is in with the sword or the joust, and he's fighting this armored snail who's got pretty much it's the story of the incarnation vehicle collecting the shell. I think anything with a
Mm,
shell, which
yeah.
is why Cancer sits up on top on that position up there because we come here and we get a new shell each time, right? And we're really it's a soft shell system, so we pretty much developed that nail, which is the outer bone connected to the ether system. So that's what keeps everything separated. So um, it's almost like and then the knight in that picture was black. He was pretty much showing the sulfur gas, how everything sticks together with that sulfur. And then that creates all the things. That's how something holds on to itself. It has sulfur gas locked inside of it, and then the ether on the outside keeps all the sulfur gas things separated into separate sulfur gas things, which is it's pretty amazing. I mean, those two gases turn to liquid inside of us, so we're trapping, we're we have like an alchemical suit here, and we're making these ingredients that you can only make in a human body, which means that there's parts of the universe out there that are only accessible through the human body, which means this is more like a library card for us.
Kept those.
But I'm getting deep off into a lot of stuff here.
Yeah.
But
You
I'm
know
going to go
what's
back on mute. But the shell, like the snail, the cephalopod, that reminds me of like a neuron incarnated. So, like the ability to receive and send signals. I mean, some of those animals are very neurotic. They're very electric beings, and really, we've got El and we've got Ma as the two big gods here of electromagnetism, and we're kind of just we're in between those two, like the Sistine Chapel painting where the two fingers are touching. We're that spark gap, that lightning in between the two fingers that touches that you can see. That is the Lucifer realm that we're pretty much in, but it's it's not a bad thing, of course. I mean, it's all very beautiful things. Like
it's
if you
fine.
think of like Vulcan, like the word Vulcan is a hidden 19-day cycle, the fastest thing out there. And then we've got evil. They take the same sound Vol and they make it sound bad, but really that's who we are, is Vulcan, the form maker here. But yeah, man, it's insane.
You know what's
All
interesting
right.
about the art too is like when you look at so I taught well, I teach young people art essentially, but when you look at the way a kindergartner or a first grader they draw, it's very like they know exactly what it is, and obviously when you look at it, it may not have the attributes of a accurate drawing, but it makes sense typically. Like even the way they do like the sun or something like that, it's always spot on, and it's you kind of see that with the medieval art in a way too.
Right. And the inner child was free almost. And like, look at the Greeks. What were the Greeks doing? They were perfecting it. I mean, there was no sloppiness in the Greeks. They were making masterpieces. So they weren't too concerned probably with the divinatory meaning side of everything. I mean, I'm sure they were, but they wanted to hold it in high esteem, very high grace and perfection. No mistakes, no errors.
Hmm.
Um, it's where medieval was completely different, and it's got evil in there. It's got the Vulcan, so it's I don't know, and that's the period, the only period out there that I can find Vulcan works in, and they're all connected to Venus. And I think it's because the Vulcan side is the crystal side, and the Venus side is the metal. That's where you break off. That's one axis, one pole. At one side of the pole, you've got crystal. The other side of the pole, you've got all the metals, and that's Venus and Vulcan. And Venus is connected to the sun side, and Vulcan would be connected to the moon side. But this would be the center pole, the center axis of the sun and the moon itself. And the metal pole extends down into all visible reality from the surface below, with the crystal pole extending into the sky farther, all invisible above. And this is exactly what the center Venus Vulcan pole is, in my book at least. But yeah, medieval time period, only time period I can actually find that kind of stuff in.
So, Lilla is kind of in the witchy vibes, and she shared us this article about witches stealing penises. You want to tell us a little bit
Yeah,
about this?
Oh,
that
that's
was great.
awesome. Tell us.
Is it
Me
awesome?
This is just me regurgitating some stuff that I've read online, but pretty classic, pretty wonderful in terms of a good go-to Vice article when you're bored at work. But basically, there was this, there's a sort of age-old castration fear, right, in male personages, paired with the fear, right, of this whatever you want to call it, magical feminine quality, perhaps feeling your masculinity, that kind of thing, and in medieval times that for whatever reason bizarrely manifested sometimes as the actual belief that witches were stealing physical penises, so not just depriving you of your power or whatever, but actually physically bewitching you and stealing your penis, and they would keep it as a pet. So there's great pictures of there's one on the thing I think you showed of like the tree that has all these penises hanging in it. So they would
Oh
hang them
yeah.
in trees. And there's others of like the witches feeding them. They would apparently take good care of them. And there's details such as like what they would feed them, like they would feed them oats.
Oh,
I think it's great. A nice nutritious like
yummy.
vegan diet there. But yeah, it's almost kind of cute or whimsical, from our
Hmm.
standpoint today. But
Well,
obviously it is uh, a larger narrative that's kind of quite scary and full of persecution and violence. But
let me
it
tell you
is not.
this. There is a
Yeah.
bar in Fells Point, Maryland that I have visited a few times. And there is it's, I don't know if you've never been down there. These are ancient bars. They've been there for almost 100 years. They're,
Oh,
by
wow.
the water. They're old school. But one of them you can go to, and there is a small jar on one of the shelves inside, like a little closed thing with glass, and there is a floating penis in there.
Oh gosh. Okay.
Supposedly, someone lost their penis, I think, in a fight or something like that, and it's in a jar now and preserved. So,
Wow.
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, that's interesting.
right.
I don't know where to go with that one.
Okay.
But these things happen, I guess.
Apparently.
Hey,
Awesome.
same thing. I just put two pictures up in the channel above, divination or delineatory, whatever the heck I called it up there.
Oh.
We've got divinatory delineation. I got two pictures in there that one's yeah, it should be well, let me find. I've got another one I've got to put up here, but it's got the man inside of a heart or a mouth, and he's showing his pretty much his elephantitis balls,
Oh,
and um,
This is
these are
weird.
very cryptic images. I mean, this isn't. I mean, this is. There's so much meaning packed in these things. It's freaking unreal. I've got a couple here with the woman. So the woman was sacred. They went into the woman and they would get the clear out of the woman. So the black bursts the clear, or I'm sorry, the clear bursts the black. So the woman is the cave of creation, the black. So if you look at this, let me see, let me get over here. I'm going to chuck this up. They pretty much would excite the woman, pretty much make her have an orgasm, and they would get the clear liquids out of her, and these would be the golden apples. Um, Unreal. So, I mean, and the sexual fluids were considered part of the economy. So, your real health system was your wealth. You weren't wealthy if you weren't healthy. And the number one healthy thing was, I guess, the fluids in the body. Here's another one I'm popping up right there. It's like, what is going on here? I mean, that's, you can see a clear stream shooting out when they're doing stuff. Two women are holding their legs and a third woman in red. That's Saturn right there. That's showing you that you've got the green and the blue. That's the equinox. So the blue would be September, the green would be March. And then right there, that clear down there, that's Capricornian Saturn with the black hat. Capricorn, the corn is the cornea. So it's showing you that the clear cornea of the eye is what traps the light. So when we fell in love in this system. That's how you fall into a crystal ball as light. You fell in love, which is Vulcan, VUL. And it's a cancer, Vulcan. So it's pretty much this entire crystal ball system, BAAL for ball as well. And we're in his image. So that's exactly what they were doing. They knew that the woman's clear liquids inside of her was that special essence here in this system. So all the Athena and Golden Apple stories, all that stuff is all about sexual fluids, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Wow.
so bunch of neat ones there.
Today I learned. Yeah.
Wow. Well,
Yeah, man, it's not. Lila, tell me more. I really like the fact that you're doing the deck with 77 other different people. That's an awesome concept. Like you said, it's not the first, but for the Thoth deck, it will be here. Now that seems to me like each person, when they get to do a card for that, they would put so much time, meaning, and emphasis since you only have one card to make. That would be a very special deck.
Yeah, exactly. It's so nice because as an artist, you get to really just like put your all into one card and not be like,
Right.
God, now I have 77 other cards to do.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that's really really comforting, because you can really you can focus all of your meaning into, like, for example, my life card is a seven of clubs. So
okay.
I would, in whatever deck, of course, their clubs could be, I guess, a wand, or we could do many things for that. But yeah, it would be cool to almost find people where, like, I know I've got a buddy who's an ace of spades, and then so is my partner, Amy, and
Hmm.
it would be nice to find the people of the world that actually line up with each card and let them do one. I mean, that would be
Yeah, well, that
insane.
is kind of, I mean, we didn't go about it necessarily like specifically looking for the people who would
Yeah.
be the best fit for each card, but we kind of trusted that the deck would pick like the right
Right.
people. And it has been super uncanny. I mean, talk about synchronicities. Almost everybody who came on board had like a wild synchronicity, either just about like the project in general, or about like the card in particular. I can share a few if you want, because some of them are.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds great. I mean, I want to talk about the mushroom deck too. I want to
Oh
get into
yeah.
that. But yeah, go ahead with that while we're on that. That sounds awesome.
Yeah, well, real quick, I think the two that really stand out. One was that I had a friend who she's not really an artist, she's not really a tarot reader, but I don't know why, I just felt like I should reach out to her. And she was like, "Yeah, I'm super excited to do this." And it's really bizarre because I have been hanging out for the last couple months with two people. Because it's like COVID, right? So you don't have a big group of friends. So the main
Right.
two people that I'm hanging out with, one of their names is Lila, so Lila, which is like my name, but with one
Oh
letter.
my God, that's what I
And
just said. Is it Lila or Lila?
yeah, and the other person, their name is Thoth. Like,
Oh,
what are the odds of that,
wow.
right? Like, those are both such rare names. And the fact that that would happen at such timing for her to join this project. So that was one synchronicity that was really mind blowing. The other one was, so we've had a couple people, you know, they have commitments, something comes up, they're not able to keep going with the cards. So in that case, we look for a replacement artist. And
Lilla, did you? I mean, Thoth and Lilla, that's Lilith. I mean, we can all see this, right? I mean, that is the
Yeah.
TH and the Lilla. That's Lilith. I mean, that's
oh,
Ava. Ava and Lilith were the two original womans. Lilith, in my book, was the real original woman of this system, and
that's
Ava would have been the one that came in from outside with, I guess, Abel with a bowl,
Ooh,
a Toro
I
field.
just got chills because I was telling Todd, I think before you came on, Barry, but yesterday I did a past life regression session, and we were talking about some stuff with my the session leader, and one of the things we're talking about was basically that like one of my roles in the future is going to be channeling like the divine feminine, like almost exclusively. Like that seems to be
Oh,
my
that's awesome. That's freaking
like as
awesome.
opposed to masculine, right? Because I mean it's all a balance and we need both of those, but I think my
It
personal
is.
seems to be very much about being like a model of divine feminine for others and to influence divine masculine around me as well. So that's pretty cool. I didn't that's a
Right.
cool
And that's
thing.
almost like a fitting, like I feel like my exact role is to bring about the real man,
Oh
which
yeah.
is,
Yeah.
I mean, in a world, it's almost like we have such a fake egoic male here. It's
Yeah.
disgusting. There's no balance in it. It's all set up in materialism and it's gross. I gotta put on mute one sec here.
But yeah, really quick, the other synchronicity that happened that was pretty awesome was we had someone drop off the project and their card was the star. And I was talking with one of my friends who I'm doing this other Discord with. We have like an intuitive group where we meet up and just play around with yeah, just like reading energies, doing body scans, reading objects, things like fun stuff like that. And so she's, you know, she's really tapped in. She's a very like intuitive person, magical person. And I'm talking, I happened to mention this tarot project and she's like, "Oh, do you need an artist for it?" And I'm like, "Well, actually, we literally just had a card open up today." And she's like, "Oh, cool. Like, yeah, that sounds like fun. I'd be down." And I'm like, "Okay. Well, the card is the star, so, you know, hope you
Oh,
like feel good about that or whatever." And she's like, "Oh my God, I was literally just about to write you like as a joke. Like, I'm only gonna take the card if it's the star because that's like my
oh
favorite."
my God. Is that
Wow.
17? I think
Yep.
that,
Yeah.
yeah. Oh,
With
wow. That's insane. It's been, I feel like everybody we've had in the most insane sinks lately going down. Something is serious. Like normally it's okay. Like when I have one or two things in a day that are like, little synchronicity things, that's just a normal day now. So I don't really, it doesn't capture me. But like over the last 2 to 3 weeks, it's been a absolute slaughtering nonstop all day, synchronicities coming in, a lot of it on Thursdays for some reason has been like Thor, like Ethor. We got a new baby squirrel this last Thursday and it's blind.
Oh.
So yeah,
I
it was in our closet and we were gonna name him Theo.
was
And pretty much we had heard over the week or two before that, we thought it was maybe a mouse in our room or something, but I went out to go get something. We already have a pet squirrel, Charlie. He's 2 years old. He lives in our bedroom and no cage. He's awesome. I mean, just a really cool
oh
squirrel. When I get home, I'll show them both on. We'll get them on the stream real quick.
my God,
But this new,
I want a squirrel so bad. I was just talking
oh,
before you came
they're
on that the
amazing.
squirrel.
They're amazing. And then the blind one, it's like 10 extra levels of sweetness. This thing just has to trust you. And every time somebody talks, it will like it just looks at you blindly in the air and it wants to come touch you with its paw to like
Oh my
feel
God.
you. And it's yeah, I mean it melts your heart. So, and they live 25 years in captivity, so we're pretty much I'm gonna be into my like 60s with a couple squirrels still. I mean, this is gonna be great.
Oh,
Yeah, but okay, so that's this last Thursday before, 5:45 a.m. Laying in bed. I had just had a weird dream and I had talked out loud. I had one of my dogs bite my other dog really hard in the dream, so I said Max, and it was out loud in the air in the bedroom, so I felt kind of weird.
yeah.
And my Amy's right next to me and she's kind of sleeping, but that woke her up a little bit. We both go to shut our eyes for like 2 seconds in a row, my entire head is filled up with light. And like, I'm used to seeing like a little flash here or there, but this is like straight. My whole vision inside of my head was just like lit up like a light bulb, and like real bright, pearly, luminescent light.
Dude,
And
that's
then
crazy.
I said, and then the loudest thunder I've ever heard, like in a fucking earthquake right under me. So we had lightning go through us. We live in a log cabin and lightning goes from the ground to the sky. So I'm imagining this thing just was building up on the land, and it used our house. We're on a little hill as a node to connect and ground out to the sky. But Amy said that just went through my head too. Because I
Wow.
had said right after the thunder, that lightning just went through my head, and it did the same thing to her.
Wow.
Um, yeah, I mean it's so whatever Thor, and then I use that as like a I like playing with possibilities. So I pretty much started talking to the creator. I said, I've got a vasectomy now. I don't have that spark and fire now. Thor, if that's you coming in, and we have some kind of immaculate child situation, that's gonna be. I'll take it. That's all I said. And then the next week later, I got a squirrel. So,
Oh
but
my
I'll take a squirrel.
God.
That's awesome.
But yeah, it's been a real blessed 2 3 weeks. I found the most. I like looking at rocks and stuff like that. I collect rocks, so I found the most amazing rock of my entire life yesterday as well. I'm gonna throw that up here in a little bit in the other one, but it's been a neat ride for sure. One sec, gonna put this back on mute. Here we go.
Yeah, this week's energies are definitely it seems like the seesawing has sort of switched into a different phase where now you have two different phases that are sort of I don't want to say duking it out, but just from my because I for me personally, like I kind of watch a lot of different cultures between like art, astrology, gaming a little bit, art, like crypto art, tech and stuff like that, and like it seems like all of them, besides sort of this general cross pollination that's happening, but it seems like there's like they're all kind of doing the same thing with this phase transition where it's I feel like there's people that are speaking out of turn, and then there's people that are putting them in their place, depending on which community it is, which is very weird and interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree, Todd. Yeah.
Yeah, it's cool. But yeah, how about
I look
you?
at it as a time of fission and fusion. So we're seeing
Mm,
fission and fusion are two beautiful tools that not a lot of people know how to use. It's if you look at nuclear, it's the new clear. So it's that new transparent. The clear, the transparent is sexless because it's trans and it's our parent. It's really the parentless. It's the only one that doesn't have a parent. Thank you. And then we've got the look at the word fusion. Few Shin. I mean, it's got few in it, few chosen. It's Shin is Aquarius, it's life water. So, I mean, it's if you think about the world we're in, it's really messed up. And to have the ability to put it back together in a linear fashion isn't always possible. So maybe we're seeing more of a fusion and a fission process coming up right now, where, like you said, you're seeing all these cultures tie in weird ways. I mean,
mm,
everything's just, and that's where you get real beautiful creation almost, things that you never knew were there.
right.
Thank you.
But you definitely don't want pure linear anyway, because it's not how we actually operate. But yeah,
Right, right.
I also think there's something to be said for admitting that things are broken. This is another thing that we were talking about in my
yeah,
session yesterday. But just saying, I mean, we were talking about it on more of a personal context, but
Yeah,
just like admitting, like, hey, I'm broken, or hey, this is broken, and just like being okay with that. Because yeah, if you kind of pretend that like it's not broken, or if it's still fixable, or it's still,
right, right.
then you're kind of limping along. And I think you see a lot of that residual energy still today with people still kind of like trying to push on the old
right.
kind of the old paradigm. Like I think
They
it was
are.
are you guys part of the Jessa Reed's channel? Is that how I found you guys?
No, I found
Uh,
you through Instagram,
Oh,
and
okay. All right.
I
I can't
joined your
remember where I
group
found
as
her.
well.
Anyway, she's an interesting character, but on her podcast she was talking about how like has anyone else noticed how like the new presidency just kind of like fizzled into nothing? Like it was such an anti
right.
because it was like but that's exactly what it is because it's the illusion that we can return to quote unquote normal, right? Like 10 years ago, this would have been fine. This could have been great. But it's like, unfortunately, it's no longer enough, right? Like, sure, it's great that
Right.
we're where we were 2 years ago, but this paradigm's broken. We can't, it's no longer doing anything,
Yeah,
right?
it's dead.
So,
I see that
exactly.
too with a lot of the astrologers I listen to. Is that's kind of a not a universal message, but I'm hearing that a lot is, we essentially are living in a dying, dead world. I mean, it's already dead, so we might as well start doing something else because
Mhm.
you're
Yeah.
just
The neat thing about the end, though, is that's the same spot that you hide the beginning. So it's
right.
really a beautiful snake eats its tail kind of moment. It's Yeah, it's huge. Beliefs are so key here. I mean, if we are light, and like you
We
were
are.
saying, our beliefs in us are really what are building the world around us. So if you believe that we are beyond repair, then that's what you're going to make. And then if you believe that, nothing can ever hurt you, and you then literally nothing can ever hurt you. It's a I mean, it's a beautiful, take something like vaccines, for example. I don't I don't agree with putting that stuff inside of your body. Now, however, do I think if I were to go get a vaccine, especially one of, I guess, the RNA ones, if that would affect me? Sure, it probably would in some physical way. So that belief resides in me. But do I think overall, do I hold that it would hurt me and affect me in the grand scheme of things? No. Um, Same thing applies with a box of Cheez-Its. Do I think that these are specifically designed for the betterment of my existence here? Probably not. These probably have something inside of them that they've specifically designed with the sugar and starch process to, make my taste buds rule over my nutrition process instead. I don't know, but once again, do I think Cheez-Its are going to hurt me? No, no, nothing can hurt you. So but that belief system it's a very powerful weapon. So just, we got to really be careful how we use it. Like, careful what you wish for, of course.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
intention is everything. That story, the Cheez-Its reminds me of one of my like favorite teachers, mentors, whatever you want to say, Donna Eden. She teaches like a type of energy medicine. So it's kind of in between something like Reiki and then like traditional Chinese medicine. It's rather structured, but it's also has kind of a non-tangible element like Reiki. But she was talking about how she worked with someone who was suffering because he just was poor and he didn't have money to get like good food, like vegetables and nutritious stuff. And he was basically just like living on fast food. But because of his work with her, he started basically blessing or whatever you want to say, like his food every day, right? Even though it was
Yes, yes. Yep.
crappy.
Every bite I take, I say, well, not every bite, but every meal, I at least get in there. And the sooner I can remember, like within the first few bites, I always thank
Yeah.
spirit and soul. I mean, no matter what you're eating or doing, really.
Yeah, and he just put out intention that, this food is going to be good for me and it's going to nourish me. And it did. Like his health actually turned around, even though his diet didn't change. Which I
Wow.
think is also
Amazing.
one of the reasons, right, why like a lot of diets and things are so confusing for people because what works for one person may not work for another, partly because of individual differences in biochemistry, but also partly because one person may be going in with, certain preconceptions or negative ideas about the diet, right, or about anything.
Right.
And
Or
that's
bad intentions.
or
Hey,
bad.
I want to lose all this weight for an outer reason to look
Yeah.
better, and instead of, hey, I'd like to actually just be healthier and have a better vessel for my life.
Yeah,
Yeah. Intent can get you in trouble. I mean, that's what we talked, that was episode 1. Really, in magic, that's your first ingredient, is the intent that you have behind it. That's your seed. I mean, that's your germ right there.
Hmm.
yeah. I mean, really,
Um,
that's the only ingredient you need in magic, right? You don't really need anything else.
no, no, you got to have the intent. I mean, and then you're good. Then you pitch a tent inside, and you've got all this space to play in. Just careful with the zipper.
Yeah.
I have the worst luck with tent zippers. I'll say that. It's almost tent season right now. Camping season is upon us. I'm in
Yeah.
Kentucky, so really the only time camping's enjoyable is the spring and the fall when it's not nuclear out there in the summer and the
Mm,
humidity's crazy.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, where are you out of, Lilla?
I'm in Chicago. Yeah.
Oh, that's pretty cool. That's straight Tartaria right there. Um,
I don't know what
that
that means, but
Okay, so there's I guess a movement out there. You know how all the old buildings in the cities, they all look kind of misplaced and from a different time, all the old brick ones with the beautiful ornate cement work and just all the, I mean, you know how the windows are kind of half underground, half above ground.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
well, there's this theory that their mud floods have hit us, and they've pretty much wiped out the populations that were here, but they left behind the remnants of these buildings. They stayed standing,
Hmm.
and they pretty much came and dug these out, and then reintroduced us to these lands and made up some BS story. And now here we are with a fake history and on a totally different agenda than we can actually see. So, and this is all around the world, the whole entire world. If you look at Chicago, you look at the buildings there.
Even Japan.
It's got yeah, you go to any other place, they've got the same style of architecture, same style of red brick.
Hmm.
It's all over the same huge windows, the same huge doors for like 12-foot people. I mean,
Oh,
it was a different time period, and they pretty much something rape and pillaged it and took it out. I don't know who it was or what it was. I don't know how far back it went, and there's probably been more than one of these.
yep.
But yeah, there's crazy evidence out there. And Chicago, believe it or not, is really an epicenter for some of this because on the old maps, if you look, you can see they had Chicago on there, but it was spelled Shilago with a
Hmm.
Lago. And the rivers would start from there. They'd go from the Great Lakes system, which looked a little different, and they would go east to west. Now, from our perspective, so they'd go over the Rocky Mountains and they would dump out around San Francisco.
Hmm.
And you can still find this old river basin going that way across the US. And what was actually happening there, our north and south access was 90 degrees different. So all the rivers, so you know how right now water from Canada would flow down south towards like the Gulf and all that area. Well, what happened then and that area was not on the north and south. That was on your east and west access. So the north and south was actually going to be Virginia to California. Virginia would have been north above Virginia, out in the Atlantic would have been Atlantis, and south would have been below California, Lemuria. And then this whole section of land would have been up above waters with um, Kentucky, is the center, is the access for this. So no matter which way this turns, you're going to have like if you take a cross and you were to turn it 90 degrees, there's going to be a Lagrange point, a point in the center that is still the same. And
Right.
that's pretty much kind of where I'm hanging out at the moment. And you've got very, very, very old petrified stuff. I've got just yesterday, I pulled two petrified cactuses from the gorge in Kentucky,
Right.
Cool.
and Kentucky doesn't have any cactuses right now, and it hasn't for a while. So
Yeah.
we're seeing. I mean, Chicago's a very. It's on the access point, so it's within the Grand Lagrange point. So that's kind of the outer edges up there. If you look at Great Lake system, what it really is, it's really a fresh water pump system. It's where all the fresh water comes up through the earth and then comes out. This would be our original ash tree. And the ash tree is a world tree. And what it does as well is it's either spitting out water or it's spitting out volcanic ash, and that's what you would use to grow all your food. Hence the beautiful grain belts that we have, all around the Great Lakes as the ash spilled out over that area, which is
Hmm.
also a rotating place where the Yellowstone spot right now, that at one point in time had the Great Lakes area. That's how the Great Lakes has all those bubbles and pockets through it, is from the upward pressure. But our grid system slips. So what you look at right now for 270 degrees longitude, if you go back 400 years, that same longitudinal access line was not crossing where you are. It was shifted to the west. So we've got our grid, our etheric net moves through the years. So the same type of space you live in physically is the same, but etherically is different. So you're going to have different feelings and consciousness
Yep.
on the same body and the same land.
Hmm.
But yeah, Chicago, it's beautiful, beautiful, beautiful history is stored there. I think that's why they kind of target and attack cities with democracy politics, and then they use riots, BLM as just the modern tool to get rid of all the old historic stuff. They're not attacking the rich elite people that are causing a lot of these problems. They're attacking all the old world architecture, and they're getting rid of it. So this is just, how is this any different from Carthage when this is just a modern day burning
Well,
and
they're attacking belief
erasing of
structures too.
history still.
Yeah.
Yeah, look at remember
Warlocks.
the statue thing we saw a couple of years back, how they were getting rid of all these statues everywhere? That's not a coincidence. They're just getting rid of the evidence of the truth everywhere. All
Yeah.
they're doing. It sucks.
Warlocks, man. Beware of warlocks.
Warlocks. Yes. Warlocks. They lock you into war.
That's
That's
why
so
we
true.
brought Lilla on. We gotta unite the witches and the wizards so that we can fight the warlocks. It's just like Lord of the
Divine
Rings,
feminine.
people.
It is. It is, absolutely. The feminine here has a grand, I guess we both have big responsibilities, but she's the gatekeeper. You can't get home unless you go through her. If you came out of her, you've got to go back in through her to get where you came from. And that's just the nature of it. And when things happen, so when a shift in magnetism, electromagnetism happens, you're looking at, anytime this happens, the image becomes the thing and the thing becomes the image. So the left and the right go to the other side and become the right and the left. The only thing that stays the same is the middle, is the clear. So the middle, when you go through a flip event, is still the middle. So that's really the whole story about the Christ, the crystal ball, the clear that bursts the black, that bursts the white, that bursts the red, which is crazy because we got the bleeding mushroom card that day when we were talking about the teeth and the white birthing the red, and there's this freaking number, I think 4 card, and this white big old mushroom with these beautiful red spots on it. I'm like, man, this is straight. You'll never find it. Go show me a black mushroom with red spots coming out. White births black. It's just how color works. It shows you the path of things. It's so beautiful. And when I saw your mushroom cards, I was like, you know what this is? These cards right here are showing you divinatory principles from the black sun. These are shown because if you think of a mushroom in a cave inside the earth and how that grows without lu, or the visible light, it's growing off the vibrations of the gold inside. You know how the gold kind of vibrates, and think of mold, gold, cold. There's no light in there, and you got growth still. So I think that that's the original movement, or our system itself is the gold or the pole, and all the fungi kingdom. If you want to see divinatory principles from the black sun, from the original movements inside, your deck is an amazing deck to use because you've got the fungi kingdom right there, and you're showing this other realm of, hey, we've got knowledge coming in from over here too, right? If things can grow above the surface and in this loo, they can grow below the surface and out of the loo too. Those are 2 different suns right there.
Hey, can
So
I
that's when I
ask
saw
her?
your deck, I was blown away. I gotta order one. I don't even have one.
Can you tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about that? Like, what inspired you to make that deck?
The deck,
Yeah.
well, I guess mushrooms have been a little bit of like a symbol of, it's kind of a cliche term, but like it's my spiritual awakening for me.
Like taking them, like
Because yes,
psychedelics?
not psychedelics necessarily, but just mushrooms as a general class of being. It certainly
Right.
includes psychedelics.
Sweet.
But it was more that they just kept coming into my life at a time when everything was changing, and everything was changing in a way where I was realizing, okay, my life can't be the same anymore.
Yeah.
And there was this one person in particular who was like kind of a catalyst figure for breaking my old life, the mold of my old life. And he was like a mushroom person. Like he's like a mushroom nerd, and he moved to California, and he's doing some pretty cool stuff now with like mushroom technology for like meat substitutes and things like that.
Wow. Yeah.
But it was kind of on his inspiration that I got into this stuff. And then, yeah, I looked around and I was like, why has nobody ever done, as far as I can tell,
Yeah.
why has nobody ever done a mushroom oracle deck? There's mushroom tarot decks.
Right.
And there's decks that involve mushrooms.
That's how
but
I
there
found
was
yours.
Oh, okay, yeah. And there was literally, but I couldn't find, like, as of yet, I couldn't find a deck that was just mushrooms and fungi and like a sort of an oracle deck, not a tarot deck.
Mm.
'Cause at the time, my interest was much more about oracle than tarot. Now I've kind of I've sort of seen the value of tarot again, so I've sort of come around. But at the time, I was just like, I just want to do an oracle deck. So yeah, I just started brainstorming and putting it together, and I mean, I hope all the information in it is correct. I tried to do my research pretty thoroughly.
Yeah, it's great.
um Definitely with the passage of a couple of years, now that I know more about plants and things, I feel like I would do a better job if I did it again now.
Yeah,
But it's one of those things, it happened when it happened. And I'm still proud of it for what it was. And
that's
yeah, doing
awesome.
the art and stuff was super cool. So yeah, it was just a fun little beginning to my whole adventure, I guess you could say.
It's interesting to me because I've done mushrooms quite a bit in terms of psychedelics, and like I've
Mhm.
studied them. Like I hope to grow them again and
Me
stuff
too,
like
me too,
that.
yeah.
But it's when you talk about how they kind of pop up in your life, it's like that's 100% true. Like, um, they literally can do that. Like you could be like out somewhere and like all of a sudden it's just like something happens with like a mushroom. You're like, oh, that's weird. And then for
Yeah,
me, I could tell like it's them. It's that they're powerful. They
yeah,
can do
yeah.
almost anything within this realm. So
My one of my like shamanic mentors, he joked, I think I may have shared this with you, but he was joking that like once they kind of let you in, like once you've done mushrooms in a ceremonial or a thoughtful manner, right, as opposed to just sort of a like a fun manner, um they kind of let you into their circle. And he was like, yeah, you're part of the mycelium network now.
yeah,
So
exactly.
you're like, you're tapped into that, and they will keep sending you things basically,
Yeah,
once you're tapped into that network. And it does kind of feel like that, because it's like every
absolutely.
once in a while you'll just get like a little nudge, and you're like, oh yeah.
Yeah, I also do stress a little bit of caution with that because you are making an agreement to participate with them in that. So it's important to really be aware of what you're doing. I don't, people talk about, when I talk about it with people, they'll be like, oh, I want to like do it and like, party or something. Like, no, I'm not interested in any of that stuff. That's not how you're supposed to do that stuff.
Well,
And
yeah, I mean, there's just a fundamental. It's just one of the problems with modern society, right? There was just too much access to things, and things are presented to us without any context. Because I mean, how many of us, did mushrooms for the first time? Yeah, like at a frat house or something, right? Because we just didn't know any
right,
better.
right,
And that's not really our fault. That's just kind of the way things are set up these days.
right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I personally have been lucky. I feel like I have a good connection with plant life in general, and I feel like mushrooms have been kind to me. Even though in the beginning I perhaps didn't like understand or respect them the way I should have.
Sure.
But so far I have not had really a bad experience with them. But yeah, certainly yeah, it's definitely something to keep in mind. It's not something to do lightly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like anything, obviously, but that's
Yeah.
awesome. I hear your bird.
Yeah, she's mostly pretty chill, but every once in a while she has something to say. Sometimes it's kind of spooky, sometimes it'll be very much like kind of tapping into something that's going on at the moment. Right now I'm not sure if that was a response to anything, but she could also just be getting angry. But yeah,
What
no,
kind of
she's
bird
us.
is it?
She's a budgie. Yeah.
Budgie.
Yeah, little parakeet.
Oh, cute.
Yeah, I can here, I can turn on my
Oh, nice. Aw, cute. Oh, that's
Yeah, she's
awesome.
pretty awesome. She
Barry
still has
had.
her flip, so she can't really fly properly, but
Right.
good.
That's
She's a
awesome.
good verb.
That's cute. Nice.
Yeah.
Barry had his squirrel on. I don't know. Oh, there you go.
Yeah, she's that's a cute bird. Here, we'll show you. That's a there we go.
Oops, put my face in there.
Oh my god. Oh, I need a squirrel.
This squirrel came into the closet.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
He
so
follows the sound of
awesome.
our voice.
Oh,
Yeah.
that is so awesome. Yeah, I also have my kitty cat here, or one of my kitty cats. But
Here's Charlie.
it's
How do
just
you
one of
feed
those
the cat and the
things.
bird? What did you do with the cat and the bird?
So we have two cats, two rats, and a bird, and
That's
they
cool.
amazingly all get along. Like we leave the
They
rats
do?
out of their cage,
Cool.
unsupervised all the time with the cats.
Wow.
And they're fine. They play with each other actually. If anything, the rats harass the cat. The
Wow.
like a little bit more careful because
Did you get them all when they were kittens?
not really. They were like 11 months old, so
Oh,
young but
Wow.
not
okay, that's good to hear.
kittens. Yeah.
Good.
I think I've just been really lucky. Like they're just very gentle natured animals.
Yeah.
And then yeah, and I feel like the smaller animals, like the bird and the rats, they pick up on that energy. Like they realize they're not really in danger. So yeah, it's been a pretty magical experience, and it makes me just want more animals. Like I just want more. Like I would love a squirrel or a chipmunk. That's been on my list.
They're
Yeah.
special, that's for sure. I don't know how we got so blessed getting two now, but we did.
Yeah,
awesome.
they're a little hard to get in the city.
Yeah,
If they're injured.
yeah, yeah, if they're injured too, you can, I mean, that's a good way, to save them kind of. But I mean, we had both of ours, we feed a ton of birds. Oh, hold on, we gotta, yeah, no more. So we're still getting the two used to each other.
Aw, yeah.
Okay, yeah. He bit him? Oh no. Oh, bit you?
Oh no. We're not friends yet.
Yeah, so the little one went in his little hole area. And he's blind, so he doesn't know. Oh boy.
Yeah, well, with new
Sorry,
animals,
drama on my side.
some time to feel each other out.
Alright.
Yeah.
You know?
They gotta get used to each other's vibes.
Yeah, exactly. And I think if you give them the space that they need, that's partly how you can have some really magical animal chemistry. Because I think that was partly like with our animals. I mean, it's partly luck, but also we've just like been kind of careful to give them the space that they need and like just gradually bring them together. And like once the cats realize, like once the cats get over their curiosity, they're like, oh, it's just another animal, you know? And like the little ones honestly have never really been scared, so that's never been an issue. But yeah, it's just about kind of feeling it out.
Yeah.
That's so cool that you can put them all together.
Yeah. Yeah,
Oh,
no,
are we bleeding?
yeah, it's I do feel pretty lucky about that. But it makes me want to just keep going. What more can I add to the mix?
Well, you can always get some fish. They're easy.
Yeah, that's true. I guess I've always felt more of an affinity for like animals that you can hold.
Yeah,
Not that I have
same.
anything
Yeah.
against it, but yeah.
Yeah.
Fish are
Yeah.
weird as a pet because they don't really do anything, but
Yeah.
people like them.
You have the satisfaction of seeing like a living creature in your house and they're pretty and you know, like yeah, they're pleasant, I suppose, but some water energy in the house. But I personally am not super drawn to them. Yeah. Like
Yeah.
I would rather if I'm gonna put that time and money into a pet, I would rather have something that I can pick up and it can climb on me, you know?
Right. Yeah, it can show you affection. Fish don't really
Yeah.
show much affection.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, I'm the same way with fish. I want a little more interaction. I mean, fish sounds kind of like just like a duty. Like all right, I got to go feed the fish again.
Exactly. Yeah, you don't get
Yeah.
much of a benefit, it seems. Yeah.
So, hey guys,
Yeah.
we have a full moon and
Peter.
oh, what's up? Hello.
Hey, what's up? How we doing, Ben? Oh, we got a.
You guys want to talk about the full moon at all? So,
Yeah. Let's do that. Let's pull that up. What do we got? Where's the full moon becoming full in? Let me get out my.
Libra.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, it's a Libra full moon.
Is it tonight or tomorrow?
It's right now, baby.
Okay, let me pull this
Let me
up.
see. I think last I checked it was 99.9. I don't know if it already. Yeah, it's 100% right now.
Oh my God, really? That's crazy.
Nope.
Let me pull up my astro clock. Yeah, look at that. Oh my gosh, right on the freaking second. Yep, sitting looks like in between middle of Libra. I've got mine set up on sidereal. So let me get over here and we'll pull that chart.
Oh, okay. I think I'm looking at tropical, but I don't know. I get confused with those.
Yeah, you probably most are set up for tropical on their initial setting. Let's see.
But it's the
Astrocharts.
worm. So I looked up a little bit just so I kind of knew. And I also thought the name was odd because I was like, Worm Moon, that's gross. But it turns out it's like based on Native
What
Americans. You get the rainy season. This gets a lot
what
of the
kind of
worm.
moon?
It's called a worm moon.
I love that
Oh,
it's the worm moon because I
Yeah.
literally just got compost worms for the house.
Oh,
And it was a
cool.
huge struggle. It was like this huge thing that just took way more than it should have. And I also like kind of had a problem because I've never had them before, so I didn't know what I was doing and like I hadn't fed them right. And they were like escaping and not being happy. And yesterday I like figured it out and they're finally happy. So
Oh,
I feel yeah.
yeah. I don't know a lot about worms. I'm not gonna lie. I don't. They're kind of gross me out, honestly. But
Well, that's fair. I would encourage you, like, or invite you, if you ever get the chance, like even just digging up a worm in your backyard, like
will
just
do.
try like holding it in your hand and see, like tune into that a little and see what it is about it that's grossing you out, or if you're just more kind of like if it's more something unknown.
oh my
Um,
God! Look
Oh
at this
no, I used to
moon.
fish and stuff. I'm very familiar with holding them. It's just, yeah, they're just not I don't relate to them, so. I
yeah, that's
respect
fair.
them, I just don't need to touch them.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I guess I'm definitely like I like to get my hands down and dirty and things with like any plants, animals, anything like that.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just
Yeah,
because
I'm a
I don't have
touchy
a house
feeler too.
either. I'm in an apartment, so it's just like a nice little sliver of kind of like, and not a garden, but like another little piece of nature I can have in the house.
Yeah.
Um, and it is on the level of a gesture, but like just being able to compost like my tea leaves, or like some
Yeah.
vegetable scraps now and then, it does feel good. And I'm excited for when I actually have enough soil to do things with, because then I feel like that's going to really help my houseplants.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, pretty excited about that.
That's
And yeah, they
awesome.
just like they have like a quiet, just like kind of peaceful energy, like they're just kind of doing their thing.
Hmm.
Um, and it's kind of cool, like even just to watch them, you just lift up the lid and just kind of check them out.
Yeah.
Wow, guys. So I'm looking at this chart. I just threw it up in divinatory delineation, and this is a pretty epic moon right here. So first of all, we've got the moon all by itself, pretty much fifth house, which is pretty much Leo. That is going to be the black sun right there, the real heart. Notice how it's got a 150-degree angle to Uranus. It's got the most rarest of the angles happening to Uranus, which is consciousness, and Uranus is up there in Aries, right on the end of the 12th. So um, it's interesting. So we've got consciousness that's imprisonment, in a rare type of imprisonment. But we've also got a rare type of purity also there as well, as it's in the 12th, but it's in Aries in the 12th. So we've got cardinal fire there. So we've very much got this real rare type of consciousness that's coming out, that's being birthed, that you're going to actually see, that'll be visible. Because it's pretty much just about above almost into the 11th, which puts it in our visible spectrum because you don't start seeing objects until they're about 19 degrees above the horizon, which is another tide of Vulcan, and it's 19-day cycle around the zodiac. So once something hits about 19 degrees above is when they become visible. So this you'll see this. The moon, of course, a full moon is when things hatch. So right now, on the other side of this full moon is when the shell breaks open. Look at the connection to the north node. So it's showing you right now that it rose in Taurus with conjuncting Mars. So that's the baby kicking inside the womb that's going to cause the birth here. It's directly opposed to Venus in Pisces. That's fucking huge right there. Venus is exalting in Pisces in the 11th, in the house of friendship, in Aquarius, that life-giving principles, and it's got the dissolution. It's got Pisces right there, so the pure waters, and it's opposing the moon, so it's staring it down. It's watching it closely. So if the moon and Venus were conjuncting, that would be more of a wholeness, togetherness, whereas they are in a complete opposition right here. That's showing they're completely separated. So you can look at that in a lot of ways. You can see that the compassion or the metal is completely separated from the personality or the way that you're seen. So a very good time to or maybe you don't see the personality since that's below the horizon down there, and then above the horizon we've got it opposing Venus, so you're really just seeing the compassion come through, because that is visible above in the 11th. Right up there, let's see here real quick, get a little bit more on here with some of the angles. So that north node on the ascendant at the exact moment of the full moon right now is pretty interesting here. This is tapped at Crestwood, Kentucky, so where I'm at. So it's hitting harmony over to the two form areas, Jupiter and Saturn. I've got two green lines going there, making 120-degree angles there. So it's in favor of form. So this is going to happen. We've got harmony happening. It's all where is the birth going to come out at? Capricorn. It's showing you where the form is sitting over there. Jupiter and Saturn are in Capricorn. Jupiter is on the MC, so a very powerful position for Jupiter and Mars, since Mars is conjunct the ascendant in Taurus. Jupiter's debilitated though, however, in Capricorn, which shows you the end of growth, the end of that sensual desire system, hopefully. We've got a new birth coming, which is in harmony with the new moon, with the Venus, pretty much the Venus opposing the moon, and we've got that being birthed pretty much into the metal, or into the eye, the Capricorn, the cornea. So it's the light falling into the eye. Really, the Capricorn is that top of the mountain that first receives the magnetic light of the day. So it's the light bringer itself is Capricorn, which of course we know as Lucifer. You can see far, right? When you're up on top of the mountain, it's also, a seafarer. You can get through the sea. You have the knowledge in your head to know. You got that, that magnetism, which is connected to Mars, of course, which is why Mars exalts in Capricorn. Mars is the one that brings us that magnetism, Mars G net. So, I mean, and you've also, of course, got Pluto over there on Capricorn at the tail end, on the right in between it and Sag. So you've got character involved in this as well. You've got a lot of those 60-degree Venus sextile angles happening up there. Actually, those might be 30-degree angles. Let me see. Yeah, those are 30s. So yeah, and really the sun itself, sitting right there close to, get out of here. The sun is conjunct with Venus right now when this full moon happened. How did I miss that? Wow. Yeah, Venus is at 13-degree Pisces, sun is at 13 degrees Pisces. The only difference is 42 minutes and 7 minutes. So these are on the same degree, 13 degrees Pisces. That's in the second decan. That would be Cancerish energy, which would be Jupiter. So that might support Jupiter a little bit in his debilitated state in Capricorn. So we've very much got, let's see, what decan is the moon in Virgo? That's going to be 10 degrees. It's sitting on the line in between the first and second. So the second Earth sign is going to be Capricorn. Once again, the moon is in the Capricorn decan of Virgo. So another Capricorn connection. And then we've got, let's go to the ascendant, Taurus. What do we got here? We've got Mars in the North Node, also on the Earth sign. Mars 19 degrees Taurus. That's going to be Virgo energy, since that's the second set of 10 degrees in Taurus. So now we've got a connection to the moon over in Virgo with Mars, showing you what's going on there. And then the North Node, of course, is at also 19 degrees, 14 minutes Taurus. So the moon is conjuncting Mars on the ascendant in the decan of Virgo, where the moon is in the decan of Capricorn, which is where all the form is. Jupiter and Saturn and Pluto, and this is a form of character.
Nice.
Yeah, I don't know. You guys
A lot of birthing.
chime in there. I'm gonna put it on mute for a second.
Yeah. What's so someone in the chat is asking, what about worms reacting to natural light as compared to infrared light?
Yeah, I don't know much about worms reacting to infrared. They definitely react strongly to natural light, but I don't know much about infrared. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
Yeah, because
a
it's like they burrow or they follow towards that infrared heat system.
yeah, There's a video you can watch that talks about a guy. I just watched this the other day. It's a dude who did a whole bunch of studies regarding the way light works on plants, and he also did small animals, including mice, to test their reaction. And the main thing that I can really, you gotta watch the whole video because it's incredible. But like, he talks about pink light, which pink light is terrible apparently, I think that's more along infrared, which would be the lower wavelengths, but it is
It'd
not
be on the
good for
white side of the red. So that white
right.
births the red. So
Yeah.
right in the very beginning of the white birthing the red, you hit your pinks and stuff like that.
Yeah, well, that's like apparently causes a lot of problems for animals. And they said the one part they're talking about a school that like the lights were because they were using the fluorescent lights, but they were the wrong color, and like they had lots of leukemia just from this area. So once they switched those lights out and to a more natural sunlight color, it improved the health dramatically and removed the problem. But
Wow,
yeah,
that's
really, really cool. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Just share the so people can check it out for themselves.
Yeah, it makes me think in Japan they have this thing where on the edges of the train platforms they have a blue light. Like all the other lights are regular, whatever fluorescent white lights, and then they have a blue light on the edges of the platform, and it's supposedly like to help people who are contemplating suicide, because that's like the most common place to jump from the platform.
Wow.
Like to just bring their energy down a little bit, like if they're in that kind of dangerous place. And I have
Yeah.
no idea if it actually has, like, I don't know what the statistics are on like how much it's helped, but the fact that they even did it, like that they considered doing it and spent the money to do it
Yeah.
is interesting.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. That's really interesting that you mentioned that. Here's just a quick to share this title. It's called Exploring the Spectrum by Dr. John Ott. It's from 1975. Definitely watch it. It's very easy to find on YouTube. Super awesome.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, apparently light effect. I mean, we're made of light, so it's very simplex sounding, but like it's very way it works, I guess, is very complex. But it's interesting you mentioned that because I was this week I had been studying a little bit of like just data and statistics, and one of the statistics on suicide in the world is just it's astronomical. Like, the fact that the numbers are that high, especially for young people, is uh, I don't know, worth looking into for people. But
Yeah.
I don't want to be a buzzkill because that's kind of a downer. But anyways,
Yeah.
we can go back to the moon if you guys want.
Oh, we're gold, man. It's color. Yeah, I mean, color's a very interesting thing for this round. To me, color shows the path, so that shows where something's traveled. So, for example, how did we all get here? We all got here through the red system, which is the blood. Now, who birthed that red, of course, was the white, which is the white stars when you look up. What birthed those white stars? Well, that would be the black background behind the white. That's why white is such a powerful color, because all of the black coalesced into single points. These are poles. Everywhere you look up and you see white, that is a pole that light is reflecting off of, some kind of metal, some kind of gas, or some kind of ice. One of those things right there. Um, and all gas, metal, or ice, those things can act as a pole. So a compass would interact with each one of those objects if the field that it was used to went away. So, and if you had one of those three things there, it would then go to that because it has a pole. So, um, let's see, where was I going here? Oh yeah, so color. When you look at this here, we can know that where we're going heading. I mean, first of all, there's linear paths. So there's this linear system, which is the logos, which says red goes to blue, which is why we're on the surface. We all have red blood, and when you look up, you've got a blue sky. So you can also see in the nighttime, the bluish stars are the ones that are absorbing or eating light from our perspective. So everything that's red is giving you life, giving you blood. This is why the bodies of the constellations of the animals are white stars because your body is made up of white itself, and then your eye is red. This is why you've got the bull's eye and the lion's eye. So the body all work together for the eye, and then the eye looks, and then the eye is the Lu King. So the eye of all these constellations, they're all those red eyes are what give this system its life and give it its blood. So then when we look out and we look at the blue stars, that's where we are supposed to be heading, which would be the Lu or the blue system, which of course is the Lucifer. Now the infrared is the other way. So you'd pretty much um, go home the way you came here, which would be into the red, which would be through a setting sun. So a rising sun is you're looking at something facing you, coming at you, and above you. It's the future, okay? And then you're looking, so you're in its past. And then as the sun goes through the day and you go through noon and then it sets, the setting of the sun is in the past. So that you're looking at the ass of the sun. You're looking at two different sides or two different sides of the pole. So you've got the blue or the yellow in the morning, which is how you got here. You're from the future. You're pretty much jumped out, and this is the pre-stage. So the present is the pre-sent. Before you sent something, you go there to build the blueprint. So we're here building the blueprint. So we're attaching our desire fields. We're using our desire systems in our bodies to set up the field or the blueprint. This is why you attract things to you, or be careful what you wish for. I mean, this is what you're building a seed right here, right now, is what we're doing as light. And this is all done through magnetic work, not L, but Ma. And then L is going to hit you, and whatever you've built, you will reap what you've sown, quite literally. And that's when things really matter. So that's when they actually spring into matter at that point. And I'm trying to get back and wrap this all up here. So pretty much what we've got hidden, inside the red is the black, and then inside the black is the clear. So when you look out at space and whatever you want to call it, and you see this black, behind that is the clear. So the clear birthed the black. The black is this original birth right there. It's the first child, is the black. This is why Virgo is considered pure consciousness, and inside Virgo, she holds the Christ child. She has crystal inside of her because she, the Black Mother, came from the crystal child inside. And that's why the whole Never Never Land, Peter Pan, you never grow up. I mean, all these stories and fairy tales we have here, you're inside of a crystal. You are light playing around inside of an image. All of what we birth here, what we are as Vulcan, we give the whole entire cosmos ideas. We give them imagination. We give possibilities. So all of that comes from the crystal. All of that comes from this realm. The ball itself focuses all of the thoughts of the universe. They focus into images when they hit our system. So it's like a radio wave, and then it hits this crystal ball. And instead of getting sound, well, it is sound coming out in the form of image. So it's a really, really beautiful, beautiful system. Have no idea how I got here off the original question, but the color. It's like that Pink Floyd album, the clear triangular pyramid has a white light coming in, which is from the black. So originally, what happened was there's all these clear objects, all these thought forms are out there, all these platonic solids and clear, and then the black hides all these objects. Of course, these would all be within the sine waves of the black, and then as the light comes, the particles are born, and within the waves, you get the waves coalescing into the part of the ick. So you've got the ick all coming together to make one germ, which would tie us right into Germany, germination. Germany, knee, Capricorn rules over your knees. This is all going to go back to the original germ, the black sun, the black of Capricorn, which was birthed from the clear. That's why you have Virgo going to Capricorn, going to Taurus, and that's the earth trine right there. That which is without water is ash. So if you remove the driest thing in this system, opposite water is ash, and that's the phoenix, that's the holy grail, the grail, and that's where everything comes from. And the gray is where you get the center. That's where when things flip, you don't have any change. You are still the gray. You are still balanced. Nothing triggered you. You don't want to be on extremes. You don't want to be too happy or too sad. You just want to be just right there, calm in the middle. Calm. It's almost got lamb in it. That pure white lamb of Aries, that sacrificial. You're gonna put all that on the altar. You're gonna burn it, and then pretty much that the smoke that comes off of that. That's going to be the smoky god Ma right there. You're mixing in, you're pretty much putting that in your blood.
Uh-oh. I think we
Did
lost
we
him.
lose
We might have lost him. Barry, I think we lost. Well, I'll send him a message. This happens sometimes.
Yeah, I bet.
Um, yeah. How about you, Lila? What do you think about this full moon? What does it mean for you?
Oof. Well, without getting into too many details, I think it's definitely been a crazy ride the last couple months for me. A lot of ups and downs, trying to focus on, the ups, and
Yeah.
these astrological moments. They always seem like opportunities. To be honest, sometimes when I'm in that down stage, it can be like almost like bad pressure because it feels like an opportunity that I'm missing or like I should be capitalizing on somehow and I'm not.
Yes.
So depending on kind of where you are, sometimes it can be a little more stressful than an ordinary day.
Right.
But yeah, I always try to just pay a little bit more attention on those days. My shamanic mentorship teachers introduced me to a concept that's pretty fascinating. I'd actually be curious if Barry knows about these because from what they were saying, it's relatively unknown even in like astrological communities today. But it's the concept of gate days.
Gate
Um,
days? Like
yeah,
gate?
so there's golden gate days and silver gate days, and ancient Greeks knew about these, and that's literally where like my teacher got his information from.
Oh, wow.
But since that time period, they really haven't been discussed. But the Greeks believed that there were two quote unquote gates. So I don't remember the exact planets, but it's when something is in between something and something in the sky, it's called the gate day.
Right.
And it happens, they happen, the Golden Gate days, I think, are more common than the Silver Gate days, or maybe it's the other way around. I can't remember, but they happen like maybe once a month or something.
Right.
And yeah, it's the Greeks believed that the gates were where spirits connected to the human 3D plane.
Yeah.
And so on these days, the sort of connection we have with the spirit world is a little bit enhanced. And if you're sensitive to these things, you can really feel them. So I think we had a gate day, maybe it was like last weekend or something. But it's
Oh,
interesting if you start. I can post material about that if you're interested. But
yeah.
if you start paying attention to those, sometimes you do notice. At the very least, they're like very powerful in terms of moods. So like if you're not careful with your mood on those days, you can really have like a terrible day or like a euphoric day.
Yeah.
Um
Well, it's
it's easy
interesting
to
you
kind of
mentioned
go
that
into
because the Mayans have their calendar includes what I would consider to be gate days, and it's based upon the pattern that it operates, which is a 260-day cycle. Um,
Mhm.
what's really unique about their I'll just call them gate days for because I actually don't remember what the special days are called. But what happens is they line up with like full moons, they line up with like major astrological events, and I've been following it for 3 years. Like I actually do a plan, like in my planner, I'll add those dates and stuff, and they'll line up with like holidays, and it's for a system that's supposed to be like 2003, or whatever. I mean, it's probably infinitely old, but it's really astounding how accurate it is with just the moon and stuff like that. I wonder if that's where the Greeks maybe even got that idea, but I'm not
Yeah,
sure.
I'm just downloading this PDF right now. I can hold on. Always
Hey
having
guys,
tech.
I'm back. I cut out there at some point. I was talking to myself for a while.
Yeah, sorry, I tried to let you know.
You're good. You know me. I was just off in some realm in my head, thought everybody was listening and nobody was saying anything, so I just kept going.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so Lilith's telling us about this thing that the Greeks had. It's called gate. Well, she's calling it gate days, and I guess there's silver days and then golden days. So have you heard about
Oh,
that at all, Mary?
wow.
Yeah, I
I
just
just
uploaded it.
listening to something like this last night. I'm all ears. Go.
Yeah, I just uploaded the PDF. Sorry, I don't know what channel, or I just put it in the thing. But
Okay.
yeah, so I'm just reading off the thing. But there are two areas in the sky of tremendous power. The Silver Gate is located between the constellations Taurus and Gemini, and the Golden Gate is located between Sagittarius and Scorpio. On days when the moon or sun move through them, interesting things happen, and spiritual energies are heightened. So yeah, they were known to the ancient Greeks as portals, basically. So through the Silver Gate, the souls of humans were supposed to come in and out of reality, and through the Golden Gate, the souls of gods. So if you work with like ancestors, for example, the Silver Gate is like the powerful day, but Golden Gate energy is more just like general, yeah, working with deities or guides or whatever, stuff like that. Um,
Well, I'll tell you this: the search results are pretty cool. Definitely some Tartaria stuff.
huh.
Absolutely.
So I've seen as well, Lila, real quick, because I like this concept. I mean, I think this is a key part of our realm. The 360 degrees of a circle versus the 364 or 65 um, days of the year, what have you. The whole leap year thing, the time change that they do twice a year. I mean, this is all very, very suspicious. And I was just listening to something last night how they've got us stuck in a time loop. And interesting enough, it's in the constellation Pisces, which is the world constellation. So it makes me think that this whole entire mass consciousness system actually came together. And it only comes together in these times of this kind of space and influence would be in Pisces, which would be why the Christ would also be for these times. This is also where Pegasus sits, which is long term memory. So if they took away our memory at some point, if they figured out a way to wipe it clean, then we would not be able to continue on since the whole entire cosmos would run off of the ideas of this system. Since this is the Vulcan idea system of the crystal, it would pretty much then be stuck in a loop. And so what this is saying is that during the Mayans used to call those days very unlucky days, and it would be because I don't know if they were connected to the same gate though, because I think it's a little bit different from the silver and the golden gate that you're talking about, because I do like that position in between Taurus and Gemini right there, which has a lot of Venus, a lot of Vulcan going on. That's a really neat area of influence. Same thing with Sag on the other side. That's when you get the mutable fire, you get the gold made. That's when mutable fire is the unseen made visible into sound. So all the ideas and thoughts inside of you that come out of your mouth that you're able to bring, that's mutable fire. That's why Jupiter and Sagittarius and philosophy, and that's all the same kind of boat there. Sound, the ability to express the word made into sound. That's of course making it visible. However, what I see, this thing I was listening to, which kind of resonated with me, is that during so the difference between the 360 of a true circle, so and then the difference between 364 or 5, however many rotations we do to go around the zodiac, that difference right there, those 4 or 5 days are um, sometimes or where the electricity input gets shut down. So there's a direct feed, and on these days right here, imagine we cross this spoke system. Imagine those 4 days are the cardinal cross, literally. So for a whole day times four each year, we're going through a a day where you don't get a charge. Like you're literally living from a charge that you got the day before. And then you're a battery, so you're holding on to your charge through the gap. So there's 4 of these days in a quarter of the day. And I think the trick behind the quarter of the day and the whole leap year thing, because each 4 years, we make it a whole day and just add a leap year. So there's this goes to the pyramid or the quintessence. Okay, so the 4 are the cardinal directions: the north, east, south, west, and then there's up. There's the pyramid. Okay, so that is the quarter right there. So that when we go around the circle, we cross the crystalline top of the pole at some point. And there's a day where there's a quarter day, which would mean a 6-hour period of our daytime where we are literally the crystal. Like you're whatever that crystal center thing is, that's we sit in it. Like that's, and then the other days would be the metal, the 4 metals of the 4 directions. And then on the very bottom, so you have a pyramid or a 4-faced triangle right there. If you add a point underneath it, you get the di moon. And then that would be where it is. It's the diamond in the rough. The clear diamond is in a sea of black coal. So that would really probably be your clear, crystal clear center home, is that diamond once you add the bottom point on it, which would really be number 6. If you do that, though, that's a field. And then adding the center point in the 6 would be number 7. And that would be a real diamond right there. That would have that would be the most densest thing in this system would be that right there. And that would really be the most permanent thing in terms of half-life, in terms of, I guess, what diamonds are forever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So once
So
again, I have no idea how we got where I'm at. So.
sorry. So we're I think an hour and a half in. Do you guys want to do some divination? Pull some
Yeah,
tarot?
Yeah.
Uh, you want to each do one or something like that?
That sounds cool. I'll do a rune, and I'll pick a deck on my side, and then if you guys want to pick something too, we can all just take a little turn.
Yeah, let's do it.
Should we?
Yeah, you go first though, Lilla. Like we've been.
Yeah, please.
Okay. Let me just share the deck first before I actually draw the card, because this is a really fun deck.
Yeah, please.
So this is the Royal Mischief deck by Patrick Valenza. So it's actually sort of more like playing cards, or like you could use them as playing cards. It has like jokers in the deck. But it is so cool. Like if you know tarot, it gives you a lot to work with, and even if you don't know tarot, it's so fun. So each of the suits is like in the illustration. So like this is hearts.
Oh, I've seen this deck. Yeah.
Yeah, and the best part is it has these like little sayings. So they're just super fun. Just show a couple more. Like here's topsy turvy.
Wow.
Like the diamonds. Yeah, and this is just the kind of art that I love. It's so quirky and like a little bit dark. And funny.
Nice.
Yeah, it's so good. I feel like you know how each deck kind of has an attitude. I feel like this is a good deck for like when there's like a kind of a problem, or like a something. It's something that's not quite straightforward, right? Like it's not like fairies and sparkles. It's got like a little bit of an attitude. So I don't know. I was kind of feeling that vibe this morning because, like I said, it's been kind of a rough couple months, weeks, whatever. Lots of ups and downs. So yeah, I'm just shuffling it right now.
Yeah, hard energy lately. Yeah, so we usually
So are we just drawing a card for the day or for the month, or what's the intention?
We kind of have different approaches. Yeah, go ahead, Barry.
Yeah, it's your choice. You can put your intention behind it, what you're feeling, what we should be, asking. So you ask the question and pull the card, and then we'll see, I guess, what it says, and then anything's fair game. You can anything. I mean, what do you need to show us? What are we, like you said, that deck is cool for unique kind of solutions, maybe, or kind of wonky, confusing things that come up. It gives you a lot to play with. So you ask the question, put the intent, and we'll see what comes up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I keep it pretty simple, where I'll just be like, show us what we need to see. That's how I like to do it.
Yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, I guess just give us a card that would give us, the three of us, something meaningful to talk about, right? Because this is kind of a unique opportunity, at least for me. Like, I guess you guys do this, but I'm not here too often.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
you know, what is it that the three of us can talk about that should be talked about, or that, you know, we would
Yeah.
get into talking about, I
Yeah.
guess. Yeah. All
Awesome.
right. Let's see what we get.
11:33. Yeah, good pull.
Nice time.
Yeah.
Okay, we got the seven of hearts, which is the
Wow.
schooling the little devil.
Nice.
Wow, man,
That's a
that's
good
that's
card.
hilarious. Okay, seven of hearts. Yeah, you go first, Lil. What do you see there?
Well, so I'm very visually oriented, so I tend to just kind of look at the picture and see what that gives me.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
I guess for me, this is like a very personal thing, but just like there's this like central figure of like the school teacher, right? And then she's like being annoyed by all these like little imps around her. Um,
Mm,
to me, that kind of represents like this battle I feel like I've been having ongoing, like within myself, you know, where I have like that inner school teacher and then like those inner imps.
That's
Where like
exactly the vibe I was talking about earlier, where you've got the I don't want to say young, but like you've got like a lower level players that are sort of not doing as they're told, and you got the older, higher level players kind of like impatient a little bit and like trying to
yeah.
school them. I can feel that, yeah.
And it's like part of you
yeah.
just wants to give up, but also like you can't give up
Right.
because you have that higher perspective, or you do sometimes in glimpses. And you just have to, like, there's no excuse for it. Like you just have to keep going, even though it sucks. And like I think the numbers are important too, because like it feels like you're outnumbered, at least for me, like in that situation. Like I often feel like the imps within me are outnumbering the school teacher, you know?
Mm.
And it's like maybe on an energetic level, the school teacher has that higher vibration or that deeper knowledge, but definitely just in terms of like number and like noise, the little impish kids are kind of drowning you out. So I think that's an interesting yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting from it. It's kind of more of a maybe more of a personal take, but
Oh, it's all good.
I like that. I think that's perfect. I mean, seven, that ties into what we were just talking about with how the seven is really the center of the six, and the six is very much the hex or the, going back to some witch stuff, that the it's not typically a circle here. It's more of a hex, which would be two short poles with a longer center pole. And that makes the six around the center point, which would be the seven. So and then we're talking about hearts here. So really the heart of the matter, like you said, you can't give up. It's where this is involves the heart. You've got
yeah.
all those little imps, kind of like everybody's playing with the heart. Like it's almost like none of them really know what to do with it. And it's like you said, it's frustrating the teacher because, you know, there's just, they can see there's so much to explain, so much to show. There's just people, the imps are so confused. I mean, pretty much these imps are going to grow up to be pimps. And in a way, if you look at the real pimp, it has P in it, life, and it's got MP. You could go military, police. It's pretty much like a proper authority over, I mean, I'm a real male, the real masculine energy of all systems is the leading energy. It's the shield. It's the blocker. So it's pretty much Mars out front, blocking all the crap with its shield. And then, we've got, it's protecting the woman. So the woman stays nice and soft and gentle to the touch. And, you don't want a woman with, necessarily like hard and rough skin and calluses and stuff like that. That you want them soft and smooth. And I mean, not everybody, of course. Some people want a hard, rough woman, I suppose. But I mean, it's a, the men are for the, the I mean, it's really a balance system, but I'm just trying to show that the true masculine is very much a true leader, and it's a true guide. So and the reason we're so messed up in this culture, we've pretty much got a bunch of men that don't know how to lead,
Yeah.
and
Yep.
I mean we've got a bunch of the blind following the blind. I mean, is literally what's going on, and all the men are using that power authority drive that they have inside of them, that gift of energy that they just get on their plate every single second, and they're just squallering it off into things that we shouldn't
Triviality.
be spending your time is your almost your money, like your moonie. Your time is your most valuable, when it comes to the end, when you go to talk to Saturn and Saturn's sitting there like, oh yeah, you did pretty good, what do you want to go do next? And when you're sitting there looking for more time, that's gonna come down to, what did you do with your time already? Why should we download more time into you? Pretty much, time is a very valuable thing, and it all centers around your health. He all thought, he all thoth, he all th. I mean, it if you look at it, the thinking, when you're thinking, you're not fat. You're not carrying extra weight. You've got your mind down to an efficient, clean running process. You've got all the junk out of there. And everything excites you in your visual field. Everything tells you a story. Every step you take, everywhere, every sense you go to use is this deep triggering system for memory in you. And it's almost like that's where everything is really stored, is in the feeling and the memory, which is the real, like you said, that divine feminine aspect of the woman. That's the real long-term memory, and it's through all the feelings. And the woman very much controls the feeling environment in the home. A couple won't be doing too good if and it's a mirror system. The male is going to be like, it's a sounding board. Like, the male constantly fires out the L and her ma receives the L, and you've got this electromagnetic dance. So if you're filling up your partner with shitty L, you're going to get a shitty ma coming back. And it's very much you get back. It's like the basketball thing. When you go to throw the basketball down on a dribble, you know where it's going to come up based upon the angle that you bounced it down at. That's why you don't have to look at the basketball every time you go to throw it down on the floor. There's a set of principles or form behind playing, and that happens everywhere in the bounce and the mirror system. Beautiful card, Lilla.
It's
Yeah, throw in one last thing that I think, like, because I'm a teacher, right? Like, I do tutoring, and I can resonate with that feeling of, like, there are times when you just, no matter how much you want to teach your students something, or no matter how much they want to learn it, like, you can just sense the gap between you, right? Like, they just are not capable of learning it at that moment. Like, hopefully
Right.
right.
It's
they
like
will be
it's like an
some.
experience gap almost,
Yeah,
because
exactly. It is. It's like
yeah,
sometimes it's just age, right? Like they're 8 years old or they're 13 years old, and they just, their
yeah,
brain cannot, or their experience cannot wrap around what you want to convey. And there's
right,
this, you have to just be patient and like understand that and adapt your teaching to that.
right,
I
right,
definitely, sometimes I think that's a good thing to keep in mind, that, like, we're, no matter how much we want these things, at least this is what I tell myself, sometimes we just aren't ready for it. So, like, don't feel too
right,
bad, because
Yeah.
we all are those imps sometimes,
Especially
like in
teaching.
one context.
right. And if you think of the master teachers out there, a real master teacher would have the ability to give one simple short message where all six students would understand. It would know exactly how to put things in a common, simple language where it's just the most. I mean, that's why when you get down to the truth, it makes so much sense, because it's simply undeniable. I mean, it's very much it's a system where if you get shown the truth, you get these triggers inside of you, and you get two choices. You can either deny that triggering inside you, because that's the Neptune fork. Your intuition inside of you is this like metal sounding rod. Things come in and you feel how it feels off that. So when the truth comes in and it hits it a certain way, and it's an undeniable feeling inside of you. It's you can't change a triangle from having three sides. I mean, it's just something you can't do. It's the same thing when the truth comes at you. It's something that you can either accept, or you can either accept it and then hide that you're accepting it. So no matter what, you'll accept it. And then there could be this fighting aspect because every time that truth comes in, it makes some kind of lie or illusion in your life visible. So it makes that situation, oh crap, and you start judging yourself, and then you don't want to get caught doing the wrong thing, so then you justify the act that, it's not that bad, or no, that's wrong, but you can clearly see that it's the truth, but you'll do everything in your power to keep your illusions, to keep your falsities. It's their comfort. Our illusions are very much comfortable. Our routines, our patterns, our circles, they're much more comfortable than the spiral is always
Growth.
changing, always new space, always advancing. So in order to do that, you need discomfort. So you need the disc as the circle, and then you got to actually move. If you're going in a circle, you never went anywhere, you never advanced up or down, you
Right.
just were on the same degree. So a spiral advances you, it grows you, it gives you tropic growth, it gives you that Cancer north, Capricorn south extensions right there. um yeah, man, teachers. Yep. Because how are you guys, how did you become teachers? You guys are any real teachers pretty much self-taught. It's not like you went to teaching school and that's when you became a teacher. Teacher is something that is innate inside of you. It's something where you've learned yourself enough, your own being, and then you can go out and show others those areas that you've become efficient with. Like for both of you, art. I could probably not teach somebody art right now in any appropriate way. It would probably be a very dirty teaching. Like, just do what you want, it's all art, I mean.
Yeah.
Um because that's just not, I mean, it's kind of one of my areas, and really art is, very open to subjective interpretation, of course, but at the same time, there's something to be said of what makes Greek art, what makes medieval art. There's an art of the culture and art of the time. So the arts of our times right now, it's sad, but it's very much moving into a digital art situation where, which is neat, Todd, because you're almost on the pixel side of art. You've got a very beautiful perspective on it, where someone like me, like the whole digital everything really scares me, and I look at it as complete trash automatically. But you've literally changed that in me, and helped me to not just automatically see digital or pixelization as a straight negative or thing that I shouldn't, desire. Um,
Well, thank you.
but
That's the goal. I mean, really, I want not entirely the goal, but definitely a part of the goal.
yeah, yeah. I mean, because it's blanket statements are really bad. I should never have something in me like that where I say it's always bad. You
Hmm.
know, it just really shows either my misunderstanding of it, or where I can still grow, I suppose. Like, I've been playing with the idea that the digital is the on or off system, that pulse, and then the analog is the wave, kind of the color and the sense, and that whole system. So the digital is very the black or the white, one or the zero.
Right.
um yeah, so I don't know, I like the color, I like all the flowy flowery shit. I can never just give you a sentence, I need to give you 20 sentences.
Right.
um
That's one thing
yeah,
that makes teaching a I don't want to say difficult, but if you can't convey things, just in my experience, like if you can't convey things in a very not simple, but like it has to be like actionable and like kind of quick, because sort of what I've noticed is the young people, their attention spans are shot almost, and
yeah,
depending
they
on
are,
their
man.
age, once they pretty much after seventh and eighth grade, or I say after fourth grade, pretty much that seems to be where the ticket is. They've become kind of too culturated, and it's I don't want to say it's harder. It's just you have to completely change the way you approach teaching, which is fine.
Yeah,
I have no problems with any of that. Like just in regards to teaching art and drawing, it's like I don't care how old you are. I can teach you, no matter what. But it's the fidelity, and this is important too. Terrence McKenna talks about this a lot, based on the book by Carl Jung, The Psychology of the Transference. And I honestly, I have not read the book. I have the book. I've read a little bit of it, and that's it. But like just the title, it's like if you understand what that means, which is kind of where we're doing as a culture too, where we have memes and stuff like that now. And memes originally, the concept is the smallest unit of uh, meaning. So when
Yeah.
you, for instance, use a meme, it's like we use them as like, oh, funny pictures and stuff. But like the idea is like if I can convey enough meaning to you with a simplified package, which is what most visual art is about, then that's me doing my job. And the idea then is transferring the best memes, which is sort of why we're doing this show, is to sort of
Right.
propagate a little bit
Which is
more.
really like the whole medieval art period is almost what they were doing. Their paintings and I
Yeah.
mean those crazy off the wall things you see, these are almost memes back then.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, and surely they're packed with symbolism. But if you're lay and you don't know any of the symbolism, then to you it doesn't have any meaning. It's literally valueless. So it's sort of
Or
like, how do you convince, or not convince people, but how do you say like, hey, this does have meaning, whether you like it or not. But anyways,
yeah, man.
so do you want me to do a card? Or are you ready, Barry?
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go for it. I'll finish up. I'll do a Crow Tarot deck. I think I'm gonna go skip the rune. Well, I'll do a rune too, but let's go ahead. You go ahead.
All right, so check it out. This is another unique deck I've found. I'm trying to find out. Okay, it's by Guy Palm. You can check it out on palmprints.com. It's called the Numerical Tarot, a cross-culturally anthropomorphized, life-biased binary calculator, illustrated by Guy and Charlene Palm. So this is not straight tarot. They have their own meanings, so we're gonna see what we get. I have only used this a few times. I haven't had the chance to like totally dive in. Like I say, this doesn't use tarot directly. This is more of its own oracle thing. And my intentions are pretty, as usual, are just show us what we need to see, show us what we need to learn from today on this. The sun's finally coming out. Full moon day. Okay. Oh, you might not be able to see this, Barry. You have the stream up, Barry, or should I take a picture for you? I'll take a picture for you. Did I get kicked off? Lila, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm still there. Yeah.
All right.
Oh, I had my mute on.
That's
Sorry.
okay. No,
Yeah,
you're
if
good.
you can, Todd, hit your camera button on Discord right here so Lila and I can both see it.
I'm gonna post it in the chat.
Okay, there you go.
So I drew the Felicitous Happiness card, 3 of Hearts.
More
Ooh.
hearts.
Yeah, more hearts. More so hearts in where my area is like opportunities and gifts. So this could be a good thing actually. You guys should have the
Wow.
card on there. Yeah, so
I'm looking
felicitous,
at it. Yeah,
happiness,
that's
comfort,
cool.
adoration, lovely, emoting, the perfect bond, soul of fool as feeling. It also has a reverse meaning of delirious and bliss, ease,
Hmm.
adulation, maudlin, and whining. Um, you say this isn't like a standard tarot deck. It's sort of a different
I like
style.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's big, man. I mean, 3 of Hearts, once again, like Lila just said, another heart. Um, we have the 3, which is movement. That's an Aries, the ram head sideways. So it's showing you the east right there, which if you turn it backwards, it's an E. So you very much got the time of year we're at, is the 3, is the movement, is the Aries of the ram head. We're coming up out of Pisces here soon with the cardinal fire. It's about to happen. And yeah, we have three's creation. So once again, you've got harmony, the Trinity there. If you it says the perfect bond, that's making a lot of sense. Look at the sign Pisces. You see the two circles, and then um, the bars, the two bars that connect the two circles. That is two bodies in space getting close to each other and shocking each other,
Mm.
from planet to planet. That's exactly what that symbol is right there. That's the two rivers. Okay, so you've got, if you take a mountain and you take an ocean, you take a river going down on the ground, to the ocean, and then you take a river from the ocean up in the sky to the mountain. So there's two rivers. That's Pisces right there. You can get on the river that drops you off at the top of the mountain through the dew process, or you can take it through the melting process, and you can take in the fire. So this just depends if you take in the fire or you take in the air. Whatever one you do, will attach you to the ground surface if you take in the fire, and it'll attach you to the Father Sky mind and float you up to the mountain as the dew, if you take in the air. So that's why you've got fixed air and cardinal fire on each side of Pisces right there. That's exactly what's happening.
Mm.
So it's a very special time of year. That's why it's very much purification, pure like the world savior, or it's hell, discomfort, imprisonment, hospitals, wounds, injuries, isolation. That would pretty much be Pisces right there, or the world savior,
Mm.
the
Yeah.
one that wraps its consciousness into the all. Think of the membrane. The membrane comes in and it shocks the cell and it gives it a piece of itself. So it gives it everything it has through donning its electricity inside of its magnetism. And
It's also got
just through that,
butterflies, which is interesting.
right? Yeah, it is. It's like it's
Blooming.
pretty much the butterfly. Yeah, look at the yeah, and look at the butterflies on the. We've got see her thoughts. She
Yeah.
took in the air, she took in that bird. You know what I mean? She's very much, and that's also the rose blossoming. That's the rose grounds. That's how the green grounds into the air through the flower. So the color is the grounding arc process between the stem of the green plant and the blue of the air around it. All your color spec. That's right now in the spring. You look out, you're seeing your yellows first. You're seeing
Sure.
all your dandelions, all your lilies, all your yellows, all your yellows are coming out. Yellow comes from green first, and then you're going to get into all your colors from there. I'm not good on the sidereal colors, how the red, green, blue thing works yet. I've only got clear to black to white to red to
Mm.
blue.
Yeah,
And
we
then
could talk about color at some point because that's pretty deep. I know Goethe has a whole. I have his book on color, and it's really deep. Very interesting stuff.
good stuff. Yeah,
Um,
Todd, another appropriate card. Absolutely. I'm
right.
gonna pull. I've got. Well, Lilla, do you have anything on this card?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, I was just gonna say, I mean, because it's the three of hearts, right? So, I mean, you guys went into a whole nother like layer of symbolism and stuff, but just my immediate thought is like the three of cards and three of hearts in tarot is about like community and like relationships, right? Like not necessarily
Mm.
romantic relationships, but just like friends, good company, that kind of thing, networking. And I think
Mm-hmm.
it's like we are three people right now, right? And
Oh
you
wow, yeah.
inviting guests onto the show. It's a symbol of widening that community, right? Like one person at a time, but slowly but surely. And I think one message that
Absolutely.
I keep getting in my readings in my life and stuff is just community, 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 community.
Yeah.
I mean, all the relationships are important, family and romantic ones as well, but the non-blood family, non-romantic relationships is the ones
Mm-hmm.
that keep coming back for me. Like really, value those, pay attention to those.
Yeah,
So
that's
I thought that was
perfect.
just a nice touch. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
That is
got
a
that
nice
bundle of
touch.
roses too, So it's like kind of coming together, right? The roses like that and the wheat, which would be, or I guess that's wheat, but you kind of like you think about wheat, which is used to produce bread, which is like literally the foundation of community and
Right.
maintaining a
Right.
community with food. So yeah, very cool. That's
And
awesome.
it shows you she's holding the four. So
No.
she's got the north, south, east, west with her, and then the quintessence, the fifth, the pyramid, is up above, right above your head. That's the pyramid, the unseen eye at the top of the pyramid. And notice the fifth rose is up there,
Yep.
as a circle almost. And how many hearts do you have? 5 hearts coming out from the one heart. I don't know. It's pretty
Awesome.
neat. I'm gonna do on my side. I've got a Crow Tarot deck that I've never pulled a card from, so I'm gonna pull a Crow Tarot card, and then I like the Illuminati card. I've got a couple of the old Illuminati decks, so I'm gonna pull. Last week I pulled Gun Lobby. I mean, we saw like 2 or 3 different shootings and a bunch of gun stuff go down this last week, so I think this is a good false flag kind of uh, pull in a way. We can kind of see what we might want to just be careful for.
Yeah.
What they might be planning in terms. I mean, I'm not big into the doom and gloom and fear stuff, but I am into being aware, being ready, being awake, and maybe seeing coming down the pipes. I mean, the whole news has been full of the Suez Canal stuff this week, which is of course Zeus backwards, which is a big play on Jupiter, which is Thor, which is this time of year. I mean, there's a log jam in the Suez Canal, this is all talking about your reticulum in the back of your neck, where your Jupiter and Saturn are pretty much when they're in a conjunction like this. This is a sacred time of year where the forces of form join together to connect the spine to the brain, which opens up the core pus or the core oil system, and then you're anointed in oil. And that oil is like a worm trying to get up into the shell. Like think of a sperm trying to break through the egg. If you take your finger and you put it right on the back of your neck and you feel those 2 little bumps, those 2 little bones, I think over time those are supposed to flatten out into your spine area, and that's the stone that you roll away from the cave where the Christ is. Okay, and once you get this all in alignment, the center of your spine opens up into a clear liquid chamber, and in this, that's your clear liquid crystal gold inside of your spine. And the force that's inside of this area is beyond all comprehension. It contains the all. We are literally keepers of the most insane stuff in the universe. Not everybody can keep it though, because it builds up. The sexual fluid system is the base of it, and then the sky father mind part is where you get the ether gas oil mixing in with it. And when you combine the sulfur gas liquid and the ether liquid is when you get this concoction, this sticky separation thing inside of you that literally gives you access to the whole electromagnetic spectrum internally. So you're now tapped into some, you're like some, just, I don't even know, like some super light vehicle. But I feel like that's where we're all on our way to. So the Illuminati card
See what
is
you
maybe
got.
just let us know kind of. Yeah, I'm going to throw the camera on here. Let's see if what we got here. I've been pretty much there. So
You're breaking up, bro.
and what are we doing? California. Oh wow! So this is a place card. It's showing us a man and a woman, both white blonde hair, in a hot tub with a mixed drink. The drink itself has a triangle pyramid at the top. It's yellow with a little pin in it for the orange sun and a bunch of clear ice cubes underneath. So maybe the clear ice cubes melt. See the bottom one melting? And that might cause California to go in the water. Who knows? I don't know. The card says all your media groups have +1 power. So maybe we're going to see something tied to the media using California as a voice, which it's pretty much been doing for its democratic agenda. California is really very much a big area of the war where we are right now, the real spiritual war. This place is under attack. It's Cali. Cali forms you. This is the fornax. This is the oven. This is where you put your stuff in the oven at and you cook it. This is a sacred oven, sacred area. Look at this, is connected to the old world system. That's what all the redwoods and sequoias and ponderosa pines are. I think we're on a conveyor belt system, and was potentially part of what we call the inner earth. All of the vegetation and stuff you see still there is in a way was protected, and it still exists from an ancient time. It's still able to take the electromagnetism of our time and stay here. But California card, so just a heads up if you, I don't know, our 20 listeners or whoever, if just watch California in the fake news this week. We've got Illuminati card here. They could be, look at that it's pointing to the foe. See that right there? Caliph foe. So whoever the foe is, they could be using it. Hey, hold on, that's not even spelled correctly. California.
Huh? Yeah, it's good. I think so. I don't know how to
Yeah, it is. My bad.
spell.
All I can see is cauliflower. So, anyways, we're gonna put that away.
Interesting.
And then I got it on a deck. So, pro card, we're gonna pull pro tarot. Like I said, pull pro card before. So, shuffling the intent. I'd like to, bring to us. The crow is in a way part of the. I don't want to say family that kingdom first.
Hey, hold on a second. You're breaking up. You're like Barry. You're like a robot.
Okay.
Take a second. Take a breath.
Rejoin real quick.
Okay.
I feel like it's like too much enthusiasm overwhelming the server.
Probably, yeah.
Oh. Yeah.
Like, whoa, chill out.
Is that a little better?
Yeah, you're good. Those Illuminati cards are wild.
Yeah, the gun lobby last week, and then seeing all that stuff was a little scary. So, yeah, you're in California, your eyes are open. So on the Crow Tarot, I want to ask that. I want to look at this as the scavenger kingdom. That's the watchers. They're the ones always watching, cleaning up. This is the cleanup crew. These are the ones that do all the dirt when nobody's looking. This is true integrity.
Oh, you're roboting again.
I wonder if it's video. Maybe it doesn't use the video.
I'm going to take off.
Yeah, turn your video off.
Is that better?
There you go.
Okay. All right. I'll just post an image of it up, kind of like on the other side there in a second. Okay. So I want to use as I want to look at this through the eyes of the scavenger kingdom. I want the top of the food chain to show us what it's watching, what it's seeing. The crows and that whole kingdom, they always know first where they're going to have to go clean up. They go to the area, they hover above, they know it's coming. These guys can see the future. So let's see what we've got coming in from our future right now on this one poll right here. Just kind of tell us what we need to see.
Doesn't Odin have two crows too?
What's that?
Doesn't Odin have two crows?
Is it two crows or two ravens? I think. Yeah, one or the other.
Okay.
Yeah, the Ray van. Think of Ray as a Ray van, like a vehicle for the Ray to go into. Which is really your sun and your moon. Ravens are fathers of the crow. Okay. All right. And I just had a little blue bird and a brown bird pull up right next to me. All right. So I'm going to pull this. We've got the Queen of Cups. Wow. So the cups are very much associated as heart. I mean, to me, the cups and hearts and the water, these are all very similar. I'm going to take a quick picture of this in the other channel here.
You said Queen of Cups.
We've got a very big day of hearts.
I was going to say, I think
Go
it's
ahead,
really.
Lilla, tell me what you think.
Oh, I just think it's really interesting that all three of us pulled hearts or cups. Because it's the same thing. Like the tarot calls them cups, but in playing cards, we'd call them hearts. So yeah, we literally also got elements of that suit. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. That is neat. That is maybe us as a triangle coming together and collaborating. It kind of shows you what we're part of. Almost, we're part of the heart of the matter. Really what's important about this system is the ability to take water and then to create blood. So that's adding fire to the water. And that's really the heart of the whole. The only thing that matters is the heart. So all of your action, all of your reasons for doing things, all of your thought, everything should come from the heart, which is why the magnetic field of the heart is like 1,000 times larger than that of the brain. So it shows you its processing power. The heart is made to be the seat of all the choice, everything you choose to do, everything you think about, everything that you feel. You should do all this through the heart. That's the only way any of it will ever matter. That's the only eternal things are through the heart. Are the compassionate action, the compassionate thought, compassionate feeling. There's a big difference between a lusty love and a compassionate love. There's a big difference between lustful, desirous thought and compassionate, caring thought. There's a big difference between lustful, desirous action, and this is not just sex. This is lustful, gluttonous, like you're just, I
Yeah.
mean, consuming without any thought. You're just eating, like you're this consuming monster.
It can be a person, place,
So
or a thing. Yep.
right, and then look at nature. Do you see nature doing that anywhere? I mean, granted, the raccoons are getting a little wild nowadays. I think they might be getting a little, gluttonous,
Risky.
but um, really squirrels are the only ones authorized to stash a little bit away. I suppose bears for hybrid, but they've stashed it in their bodies. So the heart is very much it's what matters, folks. So that's where we all are. The queen, how does the queen relate into the hearts? She is really the king of the hearts. So the queen is in my opinion, the king would be the sword kingdom, okay, with the air, the dad, the ether. The water is the curve kingdom. So you've got straight lines and curved lines. The queen is very much the authority of the whole curve system. So she's got the father, he doesn't care. He'll go straight through stuff. That's why he's crystallization, straight lines. A plumb line drops straight down on a plumb bot. That's your sacrum and your spine. Straight lines are pa, curved lines are ma. This goes back to the softness of a woman, the gentleness of a woman, and the firmness of a man. The confidence of a man, the sternness of a man, the authority of a man. This all happens because of the nature of a man, whereas the woman, the gentleness, the tenderness, the nurturing, the caring for, the whole point of this system is for the woman to soften the hard nature of the man. And that's how you get a real man, is by combining the soft nature of the woman into the confident hard nature of the man. And then that's also how you fix the woman. The woman is too soft. The woman will let things walk all over her. She will choose the heart every time. When you need some logos, sometimes you need some cold hard truth without emotion in it. You just need to get down to the matter, or I guess the straight. I don't know. Emotion's a neat thing. A lot of that's where all your memories stored, but the emotion is really the name of the game here. I mean, if you can learn to control your emotions, you are your own god here. Nothing can excite you or depress you. You are not stirred. You are not on the image or the thing. You're sitting in the crystal. You're in the crystal. I mean, you form the image. So you are the crystal that focuses the image, and which makes you the heart. So the queen is the holder. Okay. Your body is the queen. It's a cup. It holds your light, which is the father, the spirit. Really you've got the soul. If you think of the soul arc, and then you've got the spirit. A spirit is spears it straight, right through it. A soul arcs around it. Okay. So when you look up at the yellow ball in the sky that we call the sun, that's very much the solar. That gives you the curved lines. That gives you the letter D, which gives you a concave cornea, crystal ball shape, which light goes into. So we've very much got Pa as the crystal, and then it's receiving the spirit. So we've got the solar, and then Pa's making this crystal kingdom, this straight crystal tower. The more, because everything to get transferred here into radio waves comes in a wave-like process, and then we make the particle here. Pa makes the particle. The gold node collects the silver from the moon, from the water, from her, from Ma. That's why silver is more rare than gold. That's why you're seeing things happen right now in the metals market, like rhodium, platinum, all the palladium. These are all becoming more valuable than gold because they understand now that we are the gold in this system and we collect silver. Silver is what keeps us on the road. So we're all roads lead to Rome, roaming around. So if you want to roam, you need some traction, and that is going to be the silver. So this whole system is a galvanized anode system. Our Rocky Mountains are one big silver deposit, and that's how we get light or Lu. That's how the tin of Jupiter, literally everything you see is something or some tin. Everything that you see needs the tin. So in order to do that, that's what they've got with this silver process. So real life, real wealth, that is all real time. If you want more time, this is all in silver. This is why the world ran on silver before. This is why the woman, the moon, she rules silver. I mean, this is the gray, the holy grail. Inside the silver, you get the clear. So that's pretty much the orgasmic process of the woman that adds the clear process. Yeah, man.
Nice.
So Queen of Cups, Three of Cups, and Seven. So we've got a
7 of hearts.
which equals seven. Yeah, hearts.
3 of hearts.
Or
Queen of
cups.
cups.
Yeah.
Nice.
Let's see.
Hey,
I'm gonna
Lilla.
do a quick rune, but let Lilla go while I'm shuffling some runes here.
Yeah, you wanna have a take on the Queen of Cups?
Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like everything I'm just interpreting this on a really personal level. Like the one I drew, I feel like was personal, and then the three I sort of interpreted it as like my place in this situation. And then the Queen of Cups, I feel like normally I identify with the Queen of Wands. But I feel like the last couple days I've just like had to be the Queen of Cups. So yeah, just diving deep into that place of succumbing almost to all those emotions. I mean, obviously you don't want to do that for too long or too extremely, but I think sometimes that can be a good thing to do, just to yeah, surrender basically to all of those emotions. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a perpetual dance. We're maintaining our balance and may not like the energies we have to experience, but that's how it goes.
Yeah. But before we can master the emotions, I think we have to surrender to them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's a really cool card. I'm a really big fan of the art as well.
Yeah.
You got the lotus on top of a bunch of rocks, which are also above the crown, which is above the water line. So you've got the crow sort of representing, well, the Queen of Cups type. For me, it sort of represents like receiving large amounts of energy. It almost looks like you've got mushrooms down at the bottom right too, which is very interesting.
Yeah. I
Um,
was wondering about that. Yeah.
yeah, and you've got the starfish. You've got the crab, which could represent cancer, being underwater. Definitely an emotional card. Awesome. Hmm. What were you doing, Barry? Card, dice, or something, or a rune?
All right, so I pulled a rune. So
Okay.
I pulled rune 24. The runic name is Sowelu,
Nice.
and it stands for wholeness, life forces, and the sun's energy. Um, Very much 24 is the two sides of the 12, the plus and minus of the zodiac movement system, which is ruled by Jupiter. So this is all very much in line with everything we've got going on. I put the picture of the rune in the other channel. Looks like a thunderbolt. So once again, very appropriate for Thor, Jupiter, impregnation of the zap of the bolt. Think of, Jupiter, it's got Tor in it. Saturn has got Turn in it. These are the two kings of form. Saturn is the pole, and Jupiter is the toral field. The Saturn, he turns, he's the pole, he's the inside, the red. He goes up and down in the middle. He's the metal. where everything meets. And then Jupiter is this ball. So you've got the ball lance. The lance is Saturn and the ball is Jupiter. So the ball, what it does is it does an arc spark to the pole. And this gives you the symbol of the power button. If you go to turn on a computer, you've got a circle with a line halfway down as like the radius line. So that symbol right there is like a pretty much a zodiac chart showing the ascendant position. So you've got the symbol for the sun is a point with a circle around it, okay? And then the symbol for the ascendant is a point with a circle around it like the sun, but then it has a line connecting the point in the center to the east position to the left, which is the ascendant, which means you're going up as light into the air, into the Father. The descendant is when you're leaving the mind, coming down into the Ma, into the body. So you've got we are in a dream and a light system in here. Literally anything's possible. When you figure out what you are, you can do anything. Literally anything you can think of. When you learn the belief system, how to make a belief so powerful that it becomes real, just like in the movie Hook. When Peter Pan or Robin Williams is sitting at the table with all the food and he can't, everybody else is eating and diving in and they're laughing and giggling and he's just sitting there like, what the fuck are you guys doing? Because he doesn't have the imagination yet, the belief. He doesn't believe in it. And then all of a sudden when he starts seeing it like, oh shit, this is real. And then all of a sudden it starts appearing, everything comes back. I mean, Neverland is growing up. I mean, the opposite is growing up into an adult. This would be becoming, I mean, you have to train and really hard to become this away from yourself. Is a good way to do it because we're in an identity crisis. This is what non-wholeness, sickness, disease is not knowing thyself. If you know thyself, nothing can touch you. So a very appropriate rune, wholeness, life force. If you think of what do they call the symbol for peace? They take your pointer finger and your middle finger and they separate them. And they're up in the air and it's just a peace symbol with your two fingers. They're separated. Now, all the old medieval art and a lot of other ones have other priestly image with a priest figure holding up his two fingers and they're together. Okay. And it's on the right hand typically, and it's showing wholeness. So if this means peace where you're separated, then this means wholeness. And that is a Jupiter-Saturn conjunction, what we're in. So we are in wholeness. This is a time of wholeness. When you hit a Jupiter-Saturn opposition, this is a time of peace. That's when you do the peace sign. But right now, you do the fingers together, the whole sign. This is why they attack these areas. This is why you always get a dead Kennedy, a 9/11, a coronavirus, a whatever caused World War I and II. Then you get back to the Civil War, Revolutionary War, all the way back into the New Madrid stuff. I mean, every time we come up on a Jupiter-Saturn wholeness is a opportunity. And that is the time when the worm of your spine can penetrate the skull. Things soften. A gate opens up in your brain and you can plug in the power cord. You can put the real power cord into your system and then you can start to really matter. That's the moment where everything you built, the blueprint starts to actually unfold and the true Christ unfolds. And then you become the ruler of your domain, which is our domain, which is the self, which is the form.
Nice.
This is a race. People don't understand. It's a recipe. Recipe. So Sa, P, Saturn, life, Ra, right ascension. This is all if you think of the race of the sperm to the egg, this is what's going to happen. Everything is competing to be the seat of will, to sit on the throne. There's only going to be one soul that sits on the choice making spot. There's going to be plenty of councils that sit around it and recommend things that the one will go to for advice and different specialties, but the one will be the ultimate decider and sit on the throne of the seat of will, which is what this whole entire system is measuring, weighing, and battling for. It's the king of the mountain. It's the one who is going to lead the rest because there's only one that gets to make the choices of the all. There's only one direction. This whole system, there's 360 degrees in a circle. Our system is heading in between Hercules Alpha and Beta Star. It's two top magnitude stars. We're going to Hercules. It's showing you right there what our system is intending to do. There's one soul that's choosing that right there, but it's choosing that in lieu of the all. It knows how to see the all. It knows how to sit in the compassionate action of the heart, and that's why this place is so attacked. They want to get in charge of the seat of the will. They want to steer the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And everything else. So you're going to have a division. You get one soul that wins the race. Okay. This soul is the new king of the consciousness, and you're in its mind. So all the light around you, if you are not that one soul, you will be a contribution in either the mind or its body. If you were a dense being here, if you acted animalistic and were just after the food, and you could be led by the food, which is literally your desire system, anything from television, literal foods, drugs, like, I mean, I'm not saying any of this is good or bad. I'm just saying all of this is an aspect of density. What do you eat? That's the question. Are you very light? Are you very airy and fiery? Then you're going to be the next thing's mind. Are you very grounded and stern and rigid? Then you're going to be its body. And depending upon where you are in the flavor of consciousness that you're building in this blueprint, you're either going to be the spleen, you could be in an organ center, you could be part of the skin tissue, you could be the tooth. You could
Mm-hmm.
literally be anything in this, or if you could be the consciousness of this thing, so the field. Both of these things right here are going to be the even and the odd system, which, Todd, you know a lot about odd. Odd is the center of the field. Eve, Adam and Eve, Tom and Eve, that is the odd and the even. Everything even, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. This is all the field. Each one of those is a field. And then 3, 5, 7, 9. Not all of those are nodes. Only the prime number odds are the true nodes. So, for example, 9, that is not a node. That's where very much a field of masculine fire air stuff, and it's a triple field of movement. And because it can be factored, anything that can be factored 3 times 3 is part of a field. All prime numbers, 7, for example, cannot be factored. 13, where we are right here, which is the letter B, which is on the Bitcoin, which is what they're trying to sell to everybody. That B, that 13 is Ophiuchus, is us, is the crystal, is Vulcan, is the center of the 12. So all the movement comes in and it causes, you decide. Everything is a servant to you. It's all waiting at our doorstep, and
Yep.
we're going to literally let these things in and build our crystal tower with all of these offerings that are here as Mercury, Venus, Jupiter. They're all sitting there at the table, and you're Vulcan with the hammer. Like, okay, who's next? What do you got? Oh,
Very,
cool. Yeah, come over here. I need that. Go
very.
ahead, brother.
You gotta. So I pull up on the browser. I've got some Suilo, interpretations. It's cool reading these. First of all, I want to say too. IUE, the language, that's the power symbol. Remember? Check this out. So some of the interpretations of the meaning is the sun, and this is cool because we talked about this earlier. We were talking about object of power, shield. What else?
Yeah, man.
Baldur is this is the gods. So the gods are Baldur and Sunna. Baldur is the beloved son of Frigga and Odin. His name has been variously interpreted as meaning Lord, Shining, White, Brave, and Day. Baldur was tragically killed by his own brother, which was caused by Loki, by the way, and will not return until after the end of days. It's very funny, that story. So Loki gets him killed basically by his brother with a poison dart. And then everyone's very mad about this, right? They're like, what? How could you kill Balder? How could Everyone's pissed at Loki, and he's like, all right, well, I'll try and go fix it. So they send the dude to Hell, and they get to Hell. Baldur's. It's funny, you just talk about having a table, right? Baldur's sitting at a table of all these like great fallen warriors, and they're all sitting there with Hell, who's the master of the realm, right? And they're basically like, "Hey, everyone's really upset that Baldur is dead. How can we get him back?" And um, they're like, "Well, because he's dead and he kind of was all right there, so to speak. They're like, if you can prove that every living being truly misses his uh loss, then I will send him back, which is like unheard of, right? Well, so they go out and they start sending
Right.
people out, and they go to the frost giants. Are like, hey, do you miss Baldur? And there's, so a lot of people are like, yeah, we miss him. It sucks. And then they end up going to this frost giant's cave, and they're like, hey, do you miss him? And they're like, nope, don't care, and don't give a shit about him. And they're like, oh, that's it. He's not coming back. That's the end of it.
That's awesome, dude.
Also, I just
It
want to jump in, you guys. I have
just
to
put
leave
on.
soon.
Oh yeah, we can
So
wrap it up.
yeah, I mean, you guys feel free
Yeah,
to.
we're 2.5 hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Lila, I really appreciate you coming on. I mean, it's
Yeah,
been awesome.
yeah,
You do a great service for everybody by putting out tarot decks. I mean, literally, you don't get to just work in the art kingdom unless you've mastered the other kingdoms. You don't get to be a leader of the bonus stuff unless you've done the duty. So,
well, that's
you're
amazing.
leading us into the
I never thought of
future
it like
there.
that.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, art doesn't come about unless comfort is there. And I mean, think of a survival system. I mean, it would be tough to get into the art element unless you had an established comfort zone, and then you could
Yeah,
start to let the inside things come out because they weren't so scared. um
it's like the hierarchy.
yeah,
Yeah, you're not gonna get there until some basic stuff is covered. Yeah, yeah, that's true.
right.
Yeah,
Well,
well,
we're real quick, Lila, tell us where everybody that's listening, if we want to check out your stuff, where can we go see that?
I guess the easiest way, I'm on Instagram. You can find me Little Sparrow Magic with a K at the end. And there's a whole link tree there. I'm also on Discord. Discord is weird with like sharing the usernames or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
it is.
but if
You
you
have to
find me,
type in spelling. The capital letters matter. So if you have a random capital letter in there, you have to put it in.
Wow.
oh yeah, okay. Well,
We'll
I'm
put some
also
links in
Lilla
the chat.
Sparrow on Discord, with a capital L and a capital S. But we have I was just gonna make a little can't talk publicity post about my other Discord, which I think I mentioned earlier, but it is a group of people who are just interested in practicing intuitive skills. So we just meet
Cool.
up and yeah, we read people, we read objects, we do remote viewing, stuff like that, and it's just
Wow.
very fun and playful, and just a place to practice and not be afraid of making mistakes, basically, or getting better in touch with that intuition. So if anyone's interested in that, I can link them up to that as well. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is that like a Discord server that you have out there that you guys are kind of doing that
Yeah,
with?
yeah, it's called we're calling it the Intuitive Playground. But yeah, it is a Discord server, and it has, channels like this one, so you can post witchy stuff or questions or
Awesome.
astrology, whatever. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah.
That I'm gonna be joining over there then. That sounds really cool.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'll send you
Yeah.
a link, Barry. Yeah, thanks so much. Really
Yeah.
appreciate you jumping on with us. This is really fun. I hope we get to do this again, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a
Well, I wish
blast. It was
you
a
guys
blast.
the best with your podcasting, and we'll be in touch. Yeah.
Cool.
All
Yeah.
right. Lily, you take care. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Yeah. Take
Yes.
care.
Okay. You guys too.
Thank
Talk
you.
to you later.
Uh,
Yeah.
All
that's
right,
great.
dude.
That's great. Yeah, real quick, throw up if you can at the end. You were just the Baldur stuff. I posted in Divinatory Delineation a couple shots of a line of the planets standing at the table of Vulcan, and they're all there to make an offering, and he's either accepting or pulling away. Then I've got this other one, Mars appeals to Vulcan.
Oh,
And it
cool.
shows you who is Vulcan, the hard-working slave of this world. See the guy that's beat up, and the meek will inherit the earth. Look at
Mm.
Mars. Look at the magnet where it comes in. It appeals to the hardworking. The pretty much the servant. So that's very much part of the Virgo energy, the service sector of the zodiac. You learn to do things for others as your main motivation and goal. And that's what Vulcan very much is. It creates ideas for everything, which is a pretty big job. To be an idea creator, you have to have all possibilities available. You can't shut anything down, which
Hmm.
is probably what this system is training the light for. It's trying to see which one of these angles of light will shut down possibilities. We can't have that seed in the center because we won't have access to everything. We
Yeah.
need access to everything. And having access to everything and making the right choice is free will. So, I mean, that's a very beautiful thing
Yeah.
because you can get caught up in automation land. If you just go
Oh
to
yeah.
straight divination, I mean, do you have a choice anymore? Or you just are benefic at that point, right? I mean, so
Hmm.
there's something neat about being balanced, being in the center. There's having all of it available, but not moving. Um, if there's still time, there's moving time.
That's
I
a
love. I just
meditation. I mean,
love
really
that line.
nice. Yeah. What was it again?
Man.
There's still
If
time.
there's still time, there's moving time.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Yep.
feel like
Because
with
I mean, if you're here listening to this, there's still time. We're in still time. We're in a crystal ball where the image sits still. Like you're literally in a still crystal ball and the image is moving around us and it's bringing the appearance of movement in here. I'm watching a tree blow in the wind. This is not anything around me actually moving. This is an image moving right now.
yeah.
I'm in a crystal. I am reaching out into the crystal ether with my hand, just waving into this crystal ether. This is all light inside of a crystal doing this. But to me, I don't notice the crystal because I am the crystal. I am the light in the crystal. The crystal is my body. It holds my image. And that's why you can have any body, depending upon your belief and how you set it up inside. If you believe you're a dragon, I guarantee you're going to start popping out dragon wings, dragon horns. I mean, if you believe you're a cyclops, you're going to start growing a single eye on your forehead. I mean, this is how belief works. It's all a
Hmm.
seed. I mean,
Yeah.
it's how magical and awesome is that?
Well,
I
what's cool
mean,
about that idea too? It's then that shows the importance of working together and bringing the I hate to say community, but like it is sort of about community and sort of working together because we're all a part of the same field. So, well, if you're just stuffing your face with Cheez-Its all day, when you go to bed and you upload, hey, I spent 8 hours eating Cheez-Its today, that goes into the field and the universe goes, well, like this value is very negative. Like, what am I supposed to do with this? 8 hours of Cheez-Its or TV, whatever. Or insert your favorite vice. You know
yeah,
what I mean? So
yeah,
like that goes into the field, and it's like we assume there's 8 billion people. Surely there's more, but like you figure that's still 1 in 8 billion, and the universe is going to go, well, that person technically represents a zero value because they're, that's not productive, that's not creative, that doesn't probably help anybody. So everything you do
exactly.
feeds back into our whole field as human beings, and surely yes, when you start believing these. You have superpowers. It's like let's just do it. Like there's no, that's what they fear
Right.
the most anyway. So it's like, oh,
Yeah.
you're gonna lose no
That's
matter
how
what.
that's how powerful we are. I mean, you are so powerful that you can shut yourself down and put up all these blinders.
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at your vision field, you have blinders on each side of your left and right. And if you have blinders, that's where the doors are. I mean, if you're looking for the doors, there's two of them. It's on your blinders on the left and right. That's your east and west access. That's the hands of God right there. Just put it in those hands and you're golden. I
Yep.
mean, this is a really is a golden opportunity for all of us to be here, to be in these times. It's very special. It's very sacred. I mean, it's 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 really indescribable. I mean, it's such a light is we are the quickest thing in the universe. That's how fast we are. We only do it in half the time. We
Mm.
travel. We're in still time right now, and then when we go to sleep at night, that's moving time. So we travel 19. It takes us 19 days to get around the whole entire zodiac. And we do it while standing in one spot on a system that takes 364 days. So
Hmm.
we're going around it twice on two different systems, one with our body and one with our mind. Our mind does it very fast at night. So that's what we're doing each night as we're traveling.
Yeah.
Your dreams are different through the year when you're traveling through different space,
Oh
different
yeah.
consciousness.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
But
Good
hey, man,
stuff.
great show, Todd. Real
Yeah,
quick, go up in Divinatory, the other channel. I don't know if you put this rock on that I found, but I want to show the couple people listening.
yeah,
It's
sure.
amazing. It's got
Uh,
a circle,
oh yeah, yeah.
it's a white skin, a black interior. So that shows the black inside birthing the white outside. So you can see on the cross section to see the inside. There's a black part, and then the whole outside of it is white sandstone, and then right where the nail would be is where the red circle appears. Um, I mean, and then looking at the side shot, this is a straight thumb or a finger. It looks like an original prototype. I mean, look at that perfect circle
Yeah,
on
it's
there.
amazing.
And I've got white, black, and red, black birthing the white, birthing the red. So that tells you what is skin birth? Skin births nails. So, that's and that whole system, the nail system is the infrared system, which is really interesting. So it's
That was the
yeah,
original
man, this
alchemical colors too, is black, white, and red. I think maybe yellow too. Yeah, yellow, black, white, and red were the original
for
alchemical
sulfur.
colors.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's
All
awesome.
right, Todd, what do you say? That couple 2.5 hours here.
We did great. Yeah,
Calling
thanks
it a
again,
success, man. Yeah.
Lilla. I really appreciate you coming on and sharing your insights with us. It was awesome. I hope we can get more guests. I definitely want to reach out to some people. Barry, thanks again as
Yeah.
always. Enjoy the rest of your
Yeah,
full
you
moon
too,
weekend.
man. Yeah, I got to build a baby squirrel cage, I think, today. So
Awesome.
that'll be fun. But yeah, having Lila on was really great. I really appreciate that. I love that style. I probably should have shut up a little bit more so we could have heard more of her, but it is what it is.
I'll have to make a
And
signal. I'll be like, beep, beep, beep. Barry, chill out.
yeah, Amy tried. She said she tried to kick me and shut me up, but
Oh,
we'll
it's
get
all.
better. I'm gonna bring the duct tape next time.
Yeah, we'll have Lilla
Yeah,
come on another time and do it again.
that's it. But Todd, you have a great rest of your Sunday. Everybody that listened, thank you. If you're interested in, getting on the show too, and that's cool. Let us know. Send us a message. Get a hold of us. Say, hey, I'd really like to talk about this topic. If you guys are interested, I mean, we're open for pretty much anything. I can't imagine anything we wouldn't talk about. We're talking about eating sexual fluids, and that is an economy back in the day, and I mean, literally, if that's on the table, anything's on the table. So don't be
Yeah,
afraid it's too taboo. I mean, that's dumb. To think anything's too taboo to talk about is silly. Everything should be talked about.
yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, and even then, it's like if it isn't important, it'll fizzle itself out, which is nice. So.
that's it. That's
All
it.
right, y'all. That concludes
All
episode
right.
5. Um,
Quintessence pyramid.
yep. Have a
That's
great
it.
week. We'll see you.
Much
Well,
love.
we'll see you next time. We're not sure if we're gonna do it next week. We'll let you know.
Yeah, we might be skipping a
Might
week.
take
We'll
a
see.
break off. Might take a weekend off. All right,
All
y'all.
right.